to his left. Joe drops back to throw. His pass caught by Chase at the 50. Runs through an arm tackle.
Nice.
Down the sideline. He's going to take it to the house. Jamar Chase, a 60-yard touchdown. And the Bengals have the lead with 1:57 to go.
The 0-1. Alvarez punishes one deep to left field. Kiss it goodbye. In the Landry's Crawford boxes. Astros lead it 3-2. Jordan does it again.
And we are here on Bettor Sports Live on the Bettor Sports Network. Rick Kamla saying, hello, we are in the belly of the beast here. We've got Jamar Chase and the Bengals coming up this weekend against the Atlanta Falcons in a juicy matchup. As juicy as Thanksgiving turkey hopefully will be. Hopefully it's not overcooked and it's all dry as we bring it out. And everybody's like chewing on it like, it's awesome when it's really not awesome. We've all been there for that bird, right? But it's a juicy matchup at home against the Atlanta Falcons after the breakout game against New Orleans last week. Jordan Alvarez likes to go bang, Mike Breen style. And tomorrow it will be Astros at Yankees. Tonight we've got the Phillies and, of course, the Padres, and that will be in Philadelphia. I'll be giving you wagering touts on all of this in just a moment. So Christian McCaffrey obviously has been traded to the San Francisco 49ers. Gigantic news in fantasy football. It has a lot to do with betting as well. I just want to make a quick point on this, and I want to circle back to it because I've got some time constraints here with some NBA games about to tip off. He just got rescued, and your fantasy season just got rescued. He was on the Titanic. He was not one of the fortunate ones going on the lifeboat. He was going into the icy cold drink and soon to be frozen. And now he's not. Now he's on the Niners with Kyle Shanahan and his running scheme that always gets running backs off. Even if the running backs are kind of mediocre, above average, like Jeff Wilson's not a great back. He's a good back, and he puts up like nice numbers for us, right? Wait till Christian McCaffrey gets into this offense and the creativity, all of the misdirection, all of the jet action, the reverse action, the little bubble screens, all of the shovel passes, all the creative stuff that Kyle Shanahan does. But especially, I love the fake pitch one way. You roll out this way, and then you got two crossers. Oh, my God, I love that play. I don't know why that play has not run more. The defense buys it every single time. He's in a Kyle Shanahan offense. He's with a mad scientist right now. He's a mad scientist running back, right? Joystick guy in Stanford. I mean, he'd run a 100-yard kickoff for a touchdown. He'd catch a 50-yard touchdown, and he'd run for two more, right? Like, that's who he is. He's back home. Played college football at Palo Alto. Now he's going to be in the Bay Area with the San Francisco 49ers. Congratulations. I just want to start, and I got all kinds of angles and layers, and we'll put the scuba gear on and we'll go in. But I just wanted to say congratulations to the fantasy football world and those of you that manage Christian McCaffrey, whether it's a dynasty league, whether it's a redraft league. This is just enormous news. Christmas has come early for you. Your season is, in fact, still alive. So we got games tipping off here in the NBA in just a little bit, and I will swiftly get back to Christian McCaffrey here. I want to give you my takes are on the NBA props. Get that out into the universe. You have some time to work with it here, and it will get to the baseball prediction. Give you some time to work with that in advance of 7:37 when that baby goes off, and then we'll circle back to McCaffrey, and then we'll have our guy Jeff Cadillac on at 7:30. NBA props. I'm going back to the well tonight. That is the theme, folks. That is the theme. Ayo Dosunmu. We talked about him on Wednesday, and we hit it. Remember, his line was 9.5, and I told you Vegas is going to get hip to this, and it did not take them long. He is up 3 points per game. 9.5, the line is now 12 for us. There's more action coming in on the under here than the over. The number is plus 100 here to go over 12.5, and so I'm on it. He scored 17 in a win at defensive-minded Miami. A win, right? No Levine, no Ball, and Ayo Dosunmu was awesome. Obviously, DeMar DeRozan was the man in that game, but Ayo had for us 17 points, also 6 boards, 4 assists, all kinds of other goodies. All right? So 17, and so we're 12.5. It's a good matchup. He's at Washington tonight. They always have high-scoring games. They have never been a good team on the defensive end of the court. At least not in the last 5, 10, 20 years, right? Everybody goes off against Washington. Everybody goes off against the Tennessee Titans pass defense. Everybody goes off against the Houston Rockets. There's just some matchups. And at Washington is one of those matchups. He's going up against Monte Morris and DeLon Wright. Obviously, probably the worst combo platter of point guards in the NBA, starter and bench, with due respect to them, but they're not that good. All right, great matchup for Io. We're going over 12.5. Let me give you here a couple of these 7 o'clock joints here. Paulo Banchero, we're going back to the well. He made us look very good, won us money. Let me run through these speed fashion for you here. Then I'll break it down because we got this time constraint here. Paulo Banchero, 16.5, go over this number. And I feel very good about it. And we've got Jaden Ivey here. Number went up. Now it's 12.5. Again, I love it. Okay. Over 12.5. He's going up against the Knicks tonight. So over on Jaden Ivey, 12.5. Over on Tyrese Halliburton at 17.5. Do these names sound familiar? Yes, we're going back to the well because, again, I love their matchups, and Vegas has not, in my opinion, adjusted as much as they should. And then Nick Vucevic at 18.5. I like that one. It's at a minus 120, and I'll explain. But I think Vuce is going to go 20-plus tonight. So we got Io over 12.5. We have Nikola Vucevic over 18.5. We have Tyrese Halliburton over 17.5. Pardon me. We have Jaden Ivey over 12.5. We have Paulo Banchero over 16.5. And that's what we got. So now let's break it down. And you got to wager, if you will, do what you want with this information. But this is what I'm on tonight. And we've been a 60% plus so far this year. We were 2-3 last night. It is what it is, our first losing night. But I feel good about this because these are the low numbers we're going over. And this is an absolute sweet spot. So we told you about Io DeSumo at 12.5. Nikola Vucevic, 18.5. He's the second option without Zach LaVine. You also don't have Alonzo Ball. So that's, 32 shots per game out of the lineup. And he did not have a good opener. This is one of the main reasons I like Vooch tonight is because he's a really good player, 2-time All-Star, and he's not going to have 2 lousy games in a row. He had a kind of lousy game, 15 points, shot 5 of 13. He's a really good shooter, a really good player, and he's going to be dialed in tonight. It's a good matchup. Like we talked about Washington, you can score against Washington. Come on in here and eat. Put the feed bag on, okay? And he's going up against Kristaps Porzingis, who's a shot blocker, but Vooch can give him the up and under, the pump fakes, the little hook shots, bring him outside, pump fake him, get him off his feet, get the shoulder in for 3 free throws. He's very crafty that way. And Porzingis is a shot blocker, but he's not a great defender. You can get him off his feet, and he comes down and bangs you and foul and one. Right. So I like Vooch tonight over 18.5. Last year against Washington, to make you feel even better about this, he was at 22 points per game. Head up with Washington. We need 18.5 tonight and 10 rebounds and 4 assists. He got deluxe numbers across the board against this team. Like I said, everybody gets their numbers against the Wizards. Everybody gets their numbers against the Houston Rockets. And then some. Tyrese Halliburton, 17.5, folks. I believe this is the same number as the night before. It might have been 16.5. I think it maybe crept up by 1. But you remember that we hit this over in the first half. I'm pretty sure it was 16.5, and he had 17 points at halftime. And we were like, bang, already a winner here at halftime. You gotta love that. He ended the game with 26 points, okay? I think there needed to be more of an adjustment here by Las Vegas. I think 18.5, 19.5 would have been a better number here for their purposes. For our purposes, bang, 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 bang at over 17.5. Check this out. There's so much action on 17.5 that I'm surprised they haven't changed the number. Minus 160 to now play 17.5 in the over. Minus 160. That's crazy for a prop bet. Crazy. You don't see that very often. So I'm playing it. I don't care. 1.5 to 1. Okay. It's a great matchup. He's an outstanding player. He's the face of the franchise. It's a home game against a bad team. The San Antonio Spurs, they're terrible. They don't want to be good. I mean, this is probably the best matchup of the entire year for Tyrese Halliburton. You have the San Antonio Spurs at home, an absolute tanking, sucky team at home. Go crazy. Last year against San Antonio, to make you feel just that much better about this, 23 points per game, 56% shooting. He did whatever he wanted against the Spurs last year, and they were a much better team. They had DeJounte Murray last year, right? And he still went off and had big numbers. He may go for 30 tonight, folks. I'm telling you, we're getting a big one from Tyrese Halliburton. Next week when I'm back on, and we're talking about prop bets in the NBA, his number will not be 17.5. It'll be 18.5 or 19.5, and we'll be tracking it for you here. All right, a couple other wagers we wanted to circle back to and give you the rationales on. These 7-10 starts, man, we got to get, boy, let's go. Jaden Ivey at 12.5. We're over this, and heavy action to the over here, minus 135. Bettors are screaming at Las Vegas about this one too. This number's too low. But don't do anything about it, right? So Vegas moved his number up, Jaden Ivey. It was 10.5 on opening night. It's 12.5 tonight, +2. So they're reacting to the young greatness of Jaden Ivey, but they haven't reacted enough, folks, because I see a lot of betting lines, and I'm like, Bradley Beal, 22.5. I mean, it's right where I think he's going to be. I don't know. Knock yourself out with Bradley Beal. I'm looking for, in my eyes, clear advantages. And Jaden Ivey over 12.5 to me is I feel good that we're still kind of getting away with it here. It's Detroit at the Knicks, and it's a good matchup. They do not have a lot of defensive-minded guards. They don't. Matter of fact, they have two, Barrett and Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes is hurt. Cam Reddish is a defensive-minded guard. I'll give you that. But how much will he play tonight was the first game in aberration. RJ Barrett is going to have his hands full with Cade Cunningham tonight. That's going to be a matchup. Barrett's long, very good defender, and strong, and they're going to try to put RJ on Cade and minimize him. And so that's the best perimeter defender the Knicks have is Barrett. And so Ivy will be playing against the second or third or whatever. It's a good matchup for him. Ivy in the opener had 19 points on 8 of 15. And I told you about the volume even before the first game. He is that dude, okay? He is a Wade type of guy, a Donovan Mitchell type of guy, Dwayne Wade, that is. Not a direct comp, you know what I'm saying? So he's a stud. And they're going to give him the ball, and he's going to take shots, and he's going to go over this number until Vegas adjusts. And soon this will be 15.5 for Jaden Ivey. He's that good. He's sensational. And so is my last prop bet here in the NBA for tonight, and it is Paolo Banchero at 16.5, my choice for Rookie of the Year. The odds are prohibitive right now for him to win. It's like minus 180, minus 200, and the next closest guy is like a plus 450 or plus 500. So there's already a separation in terms of betting coming in on Paulo's odds to win Rookie of the Year. I would bang that. It's only going to go closer to zero here as we move along. He is a sensational prospect. He's generational. He is Duncan-y. He is Iverson-y. He is LeBron-y. He is Zion-y. He's that good. I know I know I sound crazy. I know you think I'm nuts. I'm not nuts. This guy's that good. He's 6'10", 250 pounds. He is a brick house of a man, and he's like 19, got a great head on his shoulders, played quarterback in high school and won a state championship. I love that nugget about Paulo. Two-sport guy, throwing the ball, won a chip. Andy won a chip in basketball, won a state championship in basketball. So Paulo, his number was 15.5, and now it's up to 16.5. So they went up by one, Vegas did. And Paulo obviously obliterated that number, 15.5. He had 27 in the opener with 9 rebounds and 5 assists. The first 25, 5 and 5 debut by a rookie since LeBron, okay? And body-wise and a little bit game-wise, I do see some LeBron in Paolo Banchero. I know you think I'm crazy. You're not watching this as closely as I am. Orlando at Atlanta, because Paulo was my microscope player, my lab experiment player last year in college basketball. I've studied him. I've watched a lot of Paulo. And I get LeBron, body movement, body type. He's got almost a similar drawback with his step back shot. He's LeBron-y. He really is. But Orlando at Atlanta tonight is the scene here for Paolo Banchero, and it is a very soft matchup against John Collins, okay? John Collins is a good stat guy. He helps us in fantasy. He's springy. He catches lobs. He blocks shots. He hits threes. He's a really good fantasy player. He's not a great defender, and that's the matchup for Paulo. And Paulo has – John Collins is a little goofy. He is. Paulo's all business, man. I'm telling you right now. Talked to him a week or whatever it was ago. He's a nice guy, warm, welcoming, but he's all business. You can tell he's wired that way. You can just kind of look in a dude's eyes and tell, how he studies you as you're asking a question. No, this dude's an eagle, man. He's something else. He's something special. He really is. So let me give you my baseball prediction here, and we'll take a quick break, and we'll bring Jeff Cadillac on, NFL analyst. We love hanging out with Jeff on a Friday night. I love hanging out with you on any old night. It's Rick Hamla on Better Sports Network here. And the show is Better Sports Live. Shout out to Anthony Rivera and my dear longtime friend, Matt Deutsch. He's the patriarch here and the mad scientist behind Better Sports Network. Thank him. It's him. It's his vision. So they're behind the glass tonight and doing a great job. All right. I got the Phillies tonight, folks. And this was a game, while breaking it down, I'm always full transparency, right? And I love like kind of taking you behind the veil. I was like, I like the Pods tonight because they have Musgrove on the mound, Ranger Suarez on the mound for Philly. And Ranger Suarez is all right. He's okay. I don't dislike him. He's not Quantrill. He said jokingly about the Guardians and Yankees series. Anyway, I was thinking Musgrove, right? I mean, he's a tank. He's a beast. He's pitching really well. He's going to mow him down and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, the more I got in. So I got the Phillies tonight, okay? And home field advantage is big here. Also, their bats. They just have right now, and I say this like, we got the Astros out here. I mean, like, am I really going to say the Phillies have a better lineup than the Astros? I don't know if I'm going to go there, but gosh darn, their lineup is badass, and it's right there with Houston. All right, so I got Philly tonight. They're a plus 100 at home. So they're the dog tonight, okay, on the money line. San Diego is a minus 120. And it's basically a coin flip game, right? So I'll take Philly plus 100 here. So let's get into Joe Musgrove. Dominant pitcher, and it's quite obvious to me that he is at the absolute apex of his career right now. This is the best version of Joe Musgrove, and he may stay here for a while, right? Like he's a Cy Young level guy, and he's pitching like a complete playoff badass right now. Two postseason starts this year at the Mets in a win, 7 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 5 Ks, bagel, 6-0 win. The next start was at home against the Dodgers. Another win, 5-3, 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 walks, a little dirty, 2 earned runs, 8 Ks. 2-0 is the big stat here. The dude is rolling, okay? He's got a 3.66 career ERA in the playoffs. The home road splits are balanced, okay? 2.86 ERA at home, 3.01 on the road. Here's the key stat, though. He got blowed up in his one start against Philly this year. Gave up 6 earned in 6 innings, okay? One start, not a big sample size. Other than that stat, Joe Musgrove is vetted, okay? I have faith in him. I have trust in him to go to Philly and get it done. I'll explain in a moment why I don't think Musgrove is going to get it done tonight beyond that stat that he did not pitch well head up with Philly this year. It's a Ranger Suarez and break him down. The ERA splits are not in his favor tonight. They're not. He's got a 4.27 ERA at home. He's got a 3.20 ERA on the road. And Philly, Lincoln, Truist Park, whatever they call it there, is basically Coors Field on the east side of the United States, right? Very, very hitter-friendly park, obviously. And so that number doesn't freak me out. Okay, it's Philly. Like, there's a bunch of runs and bombs going out of that yard. So, okay, those are the home and road splits. Now, Ranger is the opposite of Joe Musgrove, because in the one start that he had against San Diego this year, he was lights the bleep out. He won the game, had a 2.45 ERA, 7 innings, 7 hits allowed, and 2 earned runs allowed. He was awesome. In the start against Atlanta here in the NLDS, in the previous series, he went 3 1/3, gave up 1 run, 3 hits, 5 walks, so very, very dirty, and 5 strikeouts. So kind of a mixed bag there, right? You like the head-to-head. The home road split's not in our favor. His one playoff appearance this year wasn't that great, very dirty. So the pitching edge goes to Musgrove. It does. I got to give the pitching edge to Musgrove. And almost always I go with the pitching edge in a regular season matchup, a postseason matchup. But here's why I'm not going there tonight. The Philadelphia Phillies lineup is the key here. They're mauling everybody. They're getting contributions from 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3. Like, all portions of their lineup are wounding you right now. They have no holes. The Phillies are, listen to this, they're averaging 6 runs per game in their last 4 games. They got 24 runs over the last 4 games. Killing it. A lot of 8s and 9s. Speaking of 8s and 9s, the Phillies have played 2 home games in these playoffs. They've been on the road a ton. They played 2 home games, okay, where they're 2-0. and they're averaging 8.5 runs per game. They scored 8 runs in one game, and they scored 9 runs in the other. And I was on Musgrove. I'm going to play Musgrove tonight. I'm not on Musgrove. I'm not. I fear this offense. And I fear this offense. Musgrove, look, he's not, you know what I mean? He's like a tier 2 guy. He's not that absolute top tier of starting pitchers. Gosh, maybe he is. He's right up there, right? But is he at DeGrom's level? Is he at Buehler when healthy's level? I don't know. Like if it were a guy like that, all right, like maybe I don't know. Like I trust Musgrove, but not like that. To go into Philly and buzzsaw these bats, I don't trust him like that. Okay, I trust him, but not like that. 8.5 runs per game at home in these playoffs. Undefeated at home in these playoffs. 6 runs per game in their last 4 games. This Philly, Bryce Harper, you look up, there's another home run. He just hit another one. This guy is on fire, and he has been the entire playoffs. I also have a hunch, people. I have a hunch. It's a hunch that Ranger Suarez, who is talented, is going to rise to the occasion and pitch well tonight, perhaps into the 5th inning, and then the Philly strong bullpen will take over. I anticipate a good game tonight. We're going to be thrilled by it. There's going to be thrills and chills and all that jazz. But I have the Philadelphia Phillies with the home field advantage and with their bats just rolling, and might be a high-scoring game. I don't know. Knock yourself out with a total. I'm on the team side here with the money line, and I have my pick to win this series, the Philadelphia Phillies, to take a 2-1 lead in the National League Championship Series. Let's take a break. We are coming back with Jeff Cadillac. I will talk about Christian McCaffrey a little bit. Then we'll bring Jeff on, and we'll have a good time here on a Friday night with Rick Kamla on Bettor Sports Live.
Bettor Sports Live on Bettor Sports Network. Bettor Sports Live with Rick Kamla.
That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Bettor Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo. He's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry, okay? Talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach. Makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball's starting to bring up personal.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at, like, Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, you want to know why they're paranoid? They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not going to start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with us.
It's one thing, okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right,
yeah, that can incite it. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play, what? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful?
It's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to my team.
Bettor Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
Third down, 5 minutes to go, 7 yards to go. Ball on the 13-yard line, as Luke said before. 4-down territory. The snap. Mayfield scans the field, floats one toward the end zone. McCaffrey holds it in for a score. Not dead yet.
Bettor Sports Live with Rick Kamla on Bettor Sports Network.
McCaffrey will no longer have his games called by Carolina Panthers radio unless he's playing against the Panthers with the 49ers. He is a 49er, and hallelujah if you are a manager of Christian McCaffrey. What's up? It's Rick Kamla here on Bettor Sports Live on the Bettor Sports Network. Jeff Cadillac, NFL analyst, will join us just around the corner. I want you to envision something here real quick. I've got some betting angles and just some angles on CMC going to San Fran. Think about this for a second. Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel are on the same football team. Have you stopped to consider that for a minute? How do you defend the 49ers? How do you defend Deebo Samuel with all the creative run plays that they run for him, the jet action, the reverse action, the wildcat action? Hell, just pitch the damn ball to him and let him be special. And now you have Christian McCaffrey on the same offense. I mean, like, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke what Kyle Shanahan has at his disposal right now in terms of buttons to push, and what Jimmy Garoppolo has at his disposal now in terms of skill players around him. What skill group is better than Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle? There might be a better 4-pack of guys than that, but there might only be 1 or 2. And so hit me up in the chat. Like, CMC is elite, top of the league when healthy. Deebo Samuel, he's at least a top 10 wide receiver. He was top 5 statistically last year. Ayuk, obviously, okay, there's better 2 receivers in the league, but he's having a good year. I'm just saying, like, the talent level is ridiculous on this team. The Niners said that they made this move because of championship aspirations. They absolutely can win the Super Bowl now. They definitely can win the Super Bowl. Are they my pick? They're not. But they can win the Super Bowl right now. Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'll get to that in just a second. Jimmy Garoppolo, to me, is now a fringe QB1, QB2. Like, to me, he's right on that line now with, in a 12-team league, right? Right in that sort of like 10 to 18 zone. He's going to be somewhere in there. And, he's already playing well. Now you've got Christian McCaffrey, and the whole organization is going to get a boost by this. You just traded for Christian McCaffrey. He's an absolute badass when healthy. And so, like, the whole thing's going to be lifted up. It is. We saw last night Nuke Hopkins going back to Arizona and playing, right? What did that do to that team? It invigorated everybody. It's a big deal. Dak Prescott with Dallas on Sunday against Detroit. It's going to reinvigorate everybody, right? That's powerful stuff, man. And so let me get to the Super Bowl prediction right here. We've got Jeff Cadillac coming up. And we've got him. We got Jeff Cadillac right now. Jeff, I'll let you settle in here. Just say what up when you're ready to go and got the tech figured out. You good to go, Jeff? All right, I can't hear Jeff, so we'll get that connection figured out here. And I do have to tell you a story, a bad story for me personally in fantasy football about Christian McCaffrey going to San Fran. Boy, that blew up in my face. I loaded up on all the San Fran backs, had all 3 of them, and now Christian McCaffrey's in there. And that orchestration was solid. It's worked out for me. I'm 5-1 in this league. How far are we in the season here? We enter weeks. I'm 5-1 in this league. Big time, very competitive Dynasty IDP league. And Jeff Wilson's been a big reason why, but not anymore. Jeff Cadillac, my homie on Friday night, wearing he's got the gangsta look tonight. He's got the black button-down shirt. He's got the yellow tie. You are popping, bro. What's happening, Jeff?
Hey, long time no speak, Rick. I missed you. You missed me last week?
I did, Jeff. I made the smile, the swag, the tie. I love it.
And the
Jeff,
good picks, and the picks, bro, and the picks. I'm telling you, hey, what I tell you about.
You did. You did. Are we? It looks like Mac Jones is going to come back and play here. Since you went there, I'll ask you this question. I watched a lot of the Pats and Browns game, and what the thought that kept going through my head, Jeff, was, are we really sure that Mac Jones is better than Bailey Zappi? So complete that ... for us.
I can't help but think about the Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady scenario going 20 years back. Some of the guys that are following football today, they might have been still toddlers at the time. They don't remember what was going on. But, a lot of people don't realize that Tom Brady of today, or maybe a few years ago, was on the verge of not even playing for the New England Patriots. And, Drew Bledsoe was the star. He had taken the Patriots to the Super Bowl. So he was the guy. And, that whole scenario, if Mo Lewis doesn't knock Drew Bledsoe out, Tom Brady, might be an afterthought. He might have been one of those guys, 6th-round draft choice. New England's drafted a lot of quarterbacks over the years to back up Brady, and they've gone absolutely nowhere. They held a clipboard for a couple of years. They got released. Nobody picked them up. They went back into, the private world. And then you hear a name and you're like, wow, he really was on the team when Brady was there. That's because – but now it's the same kind of scenario. You have an injury to the quarterback that is the New England Patriots. You have a guy that's come in and has played competent in this situation. He's got a hot hand. He played very well against Cleveland. He played very well the week before against Detroit, considering Detroit has no defense. He played fair against Green Bay, being thrown in there and not taking any first team reps during the week. I got to tell you, Belichick, and what I've been reading is he's available, but they haven't made that decision yet. And, Belichick loves to go with the hot hand. So don't be surprised Mac Jones is holding that clipboard come Monday night. And Bailey Zappi is starting. I'm telling you. I said it a few weeks ago when he came in. I liked the way he looked, the poise. He came in. He knew that this could be his only shot if Mac Jones really does something with the Patriots. And he made the most of it so far. So, I'm thinking, I picked this game thinking that Bailey Zappi is going to be the starter. We'll see what happens. I'm still liking Bailey over Mac Jones.
What I liked about Bailey Zappi last week is that he activated everybody. The tight ends got work. The wide receivers got work. Like with Mac Jones, and Mac Jones got busy with Hunter Henry last 9 touchdowns. And never threw him the ball early this year. I'm like, what is going on here, bro? All right, I want to pivot to the big story of the day here. Came down overnight. And Jeff, I'll take you and everybody listening on Bettor Sports Live into this. So I'm a night owl. I'm up late watching the Lakers and Clippers game, right? I got my gig at NBA radio, and I got to watch these games, right? And I want to watch these games. Don't get me wrong. And so I'm up late. And right before I went to bed, I did a quick Twitter check. And I scroll down and see some highlights. Okay, I saw that. Whoa! Christian McCaffrey is a Niner. Immediately, didn't even read the story. Went to all my leagues, picked up Chuba Hubbard everywhere I could pick him up. And I know Deontay Foreman is in the mix. They're going to compete for this job right now. And Deontay Foreman might win the job. But the draft capital they have in Chuba, I loved Chuba at Oklahoma State. So let's start there. We'll get to the San Fran angle here in a moment. But out of those Carolina backs, who would you recommend people go to the waiver wire and pick up right now? I'm saying Chuba Hubbard. How about you?
Chuba Hubbard looks good. If he's healthy and 100%, I would definitely put my money down on him. San Francisco, I don't know. They need somebody that needs to take the pressure off Jimmy G, because he's one of those type of quarterbacks, which we're finding out is he needs a reliable running back behind him. He can't do it all alone. I saw that against Atlanta last week. I loved Atlanta, scrappy Atlanta. They're doing it. They made me free.
Jeff against the spread, 6-0, baby.
I know. I mean, people are going, oh my God, but they are not out of any game. That's the funny part. And again, Jimmy G, I was watching that game closely against San Francisco. He's the kind of guy, he needs guys to step up a little bit. He looks confident and he looks comfortable, but the thing is, he needs a good running back behind him. He needs to, a guy, he definitely cannot throw 50 times a game. He's going to get into trouble. He had those 2 interceptions last week. That's, he can lead a team. You just need that running back behind him. And then Christian McCaffrey, I think Carolina, if they shopped him around more, they could have gotten a better deal. I was kind of surprised about the picks that they got for this guy. Carolina, they need to restart and regroup and really rebuild that franchise again. Made some mistakes. I think, we discussed it before, that Matt Rule was set up to fail. He wasn't given a quarterback. He wasn't given certain tools, and he was limited in what he could do. Trading your best. I thought the McCaffrey trade was going to be a throwback to the great trade robbery that Jimmy Johnson had done, because you're talking about a great player, a guy who changes the game. I mean, single-handedly, he could have beat the Rams last week if it was like just him versus the whole Ram team. But they could have got more. Carolina, I was surprised that they didn't get a team with a first-round draft choice. I know San Francisco didn't have one next year, but hey, you know what? Get a few I would have said 3 first-round draft choices for Christian McCaffrey. He's a dynamo. He's not just a running back. He's not just a wide receiver. He could do it all. He could change the game. And you put 2 guys on him, nobody can, catch him. It's amazing. So I was kind of shocked.
Jeff, look, I agree with you 1,000% on Carolina should have gotten more for Christian McCaffrey. The deadline is November 1st. It's October 20th when you swung this deal. What's the hurry? What is the hurry? I don't understand. I mean, okay, you want to make the move, but you don't have a 1 yet. You got to get a 1 for Christian McCaffrey.
Without a doubt.
So I want to ask you about championship here with the San Francisco 49ers. That's the talk. Jeff Cadillac, NFL analyst with Rick Hamley here on Bettor Sports Live. Out in San Francisco, the championship aspirations are why they made this trade for Christian McCaffrey. Cool, we get it. Let's take a look at the Super Bowl odds here. And here's the funny thing. They really haven't changed that much. I looked a week ago, whatever it was, a few days ago maybe, at the Super Bowl odds, and I was like, wow, San Fran is 5th. Maybe they were like 7 or 8. Maybe they scooched up a little bit here throughout the day. Matt Deutsch, Anthony Rivera, maybe you can maybe you know that. If you don't worry about it. But I thought I saw them at like 8, 7, 6, something like that. Maybe it was 5, Jeff. A lot of shows, a lot of games. But my point is, San Fran was already pretty high on the Vegas board to win it all. With what they had, now they have Christian McCaffrey. So legit, I think the door is now open, right? I think we all had those ideals. Oh, I think this team can win it. This team can win it. I was like, there's no freaking way San Fran's winning it, right? This year with what they got. I am no longer saying that, man. To me, the ceiling has been lifted off this team. Are you looking at this team that legit could win the Super Bowl this year?
It definitely increased their chances. They need to stay healthy. The defense needs to play their game. The big test, I will tell you, is this week against Kansas City, because Kansas City's coming off that bounce-back loss against Buffalo. And this is a test. If they can't beat a team like Kansas City, and they have McCaffrey, it looks simple for him. I know he just got there yesterday, this morning probably, once he heard that he's not really had that much to look at the playbook for San Francisco. So that might be a factor. They're going to make it nice and simple for him, but they are definitely going to use him in this game. I think we'll see what happens. The jury's still out. You a lot of times, the problem in you have a lot of great players, but they need to mesh. They need to have the good coaching behind them. Kyle Shanahan has to let this guy do what he does best. If he stifles Christian McCaffrey is just, in plays where he's just standing around and blocking around San Francisco. They got to use this guy to his full potential, because Carolina didn't have the pieces around him where he couldn't carry the whole load. Here he's part of an ensemble. He could definitely make moves. The emphasis won't totally be on him. Defenses will get scared now. Now they start looking around. Now I got to look at Debo. Now I got to look at McCaffrey. What is Jimmy G going to do? It changes the whole game of how you attack the San Francisco 49ers. It definitely increases their chances. I want to see how they do against Kansas yet, but the jury's still out.
So I saw earlier today the Niners were, like I said, fifth at a plus 1480. I think that's a really good bet. I do. 100 wins you 1480. I mean, give me a break. Like 15-1 type of thing on the Niners to win the Super Bowl this year. Again, they're not my pick. I got the Chiefs winning it, but I love those odds. And if you want to throw $10, $20 on that, I would if I could. I can tell you that right now as just kind of a little dice roll, fun little future to get into. Jeff Cadillac, NFL analyst supreme, is hanging out with Cam here on Bettor Sports Live. So let's talk about this week's game. Jeff, we've got Kansas City.
One thing I want to mention to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing I want to mention to you. What if Christian McCaffrey had been traded to Buffalo? I mean,
oh man, I think as we like to say in the NBA realm, that would have broke the league.
Yeah, I had, believe it or not, I had discussed this with somebody earlier in the week because we had a feeling that Christian McCaffrey was going to be traded because I felt after the game against the Rams, he's just wasting his time there. He's just, you don't want the guy to get old, not even have a chance at a Super Bowl, not even get into the playoffs. And I was discussing this with somebody and we said, what if he went to Buffalo? It's like, just hand him the trophy now. Imagine him on that team.
I mean, like I said, they'd break the league, man. By the way, Jalen's helped me out here, 18.5-1. So it went from 18.5-1 to 14.5-1 for the Niners to win the Super Bowl. So the line has adjusted here with the CMC trade, and rightly so. So who do you got this week? Do you have the Chiefs? The 49ers are going to get back Trent Williams. They're going to get back Nick Bosa. I read right before I came on the air here. So they're fortified, Jeff Cadillac, and they got the Chiefs coming in here at 4-2, Chiefs laying 2. Who you got?
Well, I'll tell you something. Off the bounce-back loss, Kansas City is probably pissed off about the game they lost last week. Yeah, granted, Buffalo, and I liked Buffalo last week. I got to tell you, had we spoken, I loved Buffalo last week. I felt they had a score to settle, and they're not done, and they'll probably see Kansas City again in the playoffs. But I liked them last week. Kansas City, they're a very good coach team. Andy Reid lets his coaches do what they need to do. I don't know why head coach in the NFL. There's something wrong with that. He should be on everybody's list. He's doing wonderful things in Kansas City. I don't understand why he's not a head coach. But Andy Reid lets his guys do what they need to do. They find a couple of deficiencies in their own team and they correct them. Well, I can tell you they're going to correct some deficiencies they had against Buffalo last week, and they're going to correct them this week. They're adding to the mix. Everybody knows Christian McCaffrey is going to be in the game. Everybody knows looking at a limited, not going to learn. Look, by Sunday, it's not. But he's going to be in the game, and he's another player for Kansas City to watch. But I still like Kansas City in this game. I think they're going to bounce back nicely. Jimmy G, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game, but Kansas City does come out on top on this one.
Jeff Cadillac says so, man. We're buying what you're selling, Jeff. Jeff is the man. He joins us frequently here on Bettor Sports Live. I'm Rick Kamla, and we've got Buccaneers and Panthers this week. So the Panthers make this trade. What's left of the Panthers will be at home for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are laying 13 points. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a mess. Now, we know the stat that since 2010, faves of 10 or more win 60% of the time, cover the spread 60% of the time. But dang, man, this is rich, Jeff Cadillac. This is really, really rich. Like, will Tampa Bay win the game? Yeah, they're going to win the game. Are they going to win the game by 2 touchdowns? They look like ass, dude. Like, they really, really do. Like, what? 13 points. So this is probably a stay away for me in terms of the point spread. Like, if it was 10, I'd bang it. It's 13, man.
If I had a gun, I'll be honest with you. I like Carolina in this game because, guys, this is the NFL. Everybody needs a job. Everybody wants to get paid. Everybody wants to play. So guys that you never heard step out of nowhere. And Tampa Bay's offensive line is a complete mess. They can't get anything going. The offense is not going. They don't look comfortable out there. Tom Brady doesn't even look comfortable. I can't believe I just said that. He looks stressed. He looks like, again, I talk to other people sometimes. After last season, I said, Tom Brady, he's done. He shouldn't come back. He has nothing to prove. He looks like he himself looks like he made a mistake in coming back this year. And the one thing I got to say also is Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is not a great head coach. He did not do a good job with the Jets. He is too nice of a guy. You have a different mindset under Bruce Arians than you do under Todd Bowles, and the team is showing it. Bruce Arians is a kind of guy, he gets in your face. He don't care if you're the superstar. He probably had words with Brady. They won. He goes ahead. He does. The team needs what they do. He says, perform, no trick, no, I forgot his thing, no biscuit. He says that famous line he has, if you got to go for it, otherwise you don't get the biscuit. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Okay.
Absolutely
But
do.
Bruce Arians, I loved him when he was even in Indianapolis. He was great when he filled in. Then he goes to Arizona. I knew this guy was going to do well. And I knew when he came to Tampa, he was going to do well. He's the kind of guy that players play hard for. They give it that extra because he's behind them. He's proven it. He's worked with winners. I mean, he was a quarterback coach in this league years before he became a head coach. But Todd Bowles, I don't think, he's even at the press conferences, the words aren't coming out. I don't buy what he's selling. Tampa Bay's in real trouble. And this actually, I mean, I'm not predicting it, but I wouldn't be surprised if I saw an upset this week. I wouldn't be surprised. 13 points, they're at home. They're going to be pissed. Players know what the spread is. A lot of fans and people, and, we all know what the spread is, but every player and every team knows who the favorite is and who the dog is. And it's personal pride when you're a dog by 13 points at home and somebody says that a team is going to come in and get your butt kicked. It's personal pride on the line for Carolina and Steve Wilkes. And he's probably telling his team, he goes, they have no faith in us. Nobody has faith in us, but we're going to show something come Sunday. I think Tampa Bay does win, but not by 13. No way. Maybe 3-4. They get the field goal because Tampa Bay is a mess. I mean, their defense can be run on. Kansas City a few weeks ago showed what they're all about. Hey, any team makes turnovers and makes mistakes, the game can be won by anybody. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina upsets Tampa Bay on Sunday.
I have a hard time going 13 on Tampa Bay right now. And we do talk, we know it's a week-to-week league. We know that teams, bounce back after losses and all this kind of stuff. But damn, it is such a horror show right now. The offensive line caving. Tom Brady can't move anymore. Tom Brady willingly accepting sacks because he does not want to get broken limp around for the rest of his life. He's trying to avoid hits and throw the ball. Any pressure at all, he's caving and going fetal. It's not a good scene, man. They're a mess right now. I can't take the leap of faith on 13, but I can. This line keeps toggling, Jeff Cadillac, from 6.5, 7 back to 6.5. I'm talking about the Cowboys at home against the Lions in the return of Dak Prescott. I do like Dallas here. I think we're going to see a shot of adrenaline in the arm like we saw last night with Nuke Hopkins and the infusion that he brought to the offense, the whole team. They end up absolutely cooking the Saints last night. And I was on that side of it. So I'm going to go back to the well here. I think Dak Prescott is going to just trigger and inspire the whole thing there in Dallas. And Detroit is different on the road. So I'll stop there. I got Dallas minus basically a touchdown. How about you, Jeff?
Hey, I'm you know what? You're preaching to the choir here, Rick, because I like Dallas in this game. Detroit's defense is number 32 in the league, total defense. At 26 against the pass, 32nd against the rush. Dak Prescott's coming back from the injury. Yeah, he'll be a little rusty, but he's got a good team around him. Dak Prescott's problem is he tries to force things. You have to take what the defense gives you. He got a little scared because if Cooper Rush had won last week against Philly, then Dak might be holding the clipboard just another week. And we'll see what's going on. But Cooper did have that bad game against Philly. Dak and company, they should kick butt this week. I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't, be a blowout. Detroit has a very good offense, yes, but they have no defense. They don't stop anybody. Even DeAndre Swift is coming back this week. So what? Dallas has a great defense. And knowing that they just lost against Philly last week, it's the bounce back mentality in the NFL. They got to get back on the train. They got to have to do. Defense is going to no is rushing for over 100 yards this. If there's an over under on that one, definitely take the under on the rushing yards. Detroit, I'm sorry. Maybe if the Dallas Cowboys had won against Philly, they'd be saying, "Oh, we're this great." They come into Detroit, they take them. They come back home, they take Detroit for granted, which a lot of teams do in the NFL. They get a little too high on themselves, and the next week they take the game for granted. It's almost like a trap. But this one, they got to get back on the trail, and I think this game has blowout written all over.
Wow, I know Dallas bettors love to hear that. We shall see. I'm definitely on the Cowboys -7 here, 6.5 wherever and however you can get it. Get you some. The New York Jets here, Jeff Cadillac, out there in Denver with Patrick Surtain, aka Deion Sanders 2.0. I'm on the Broncos this week, Jeff Cadillac. It's now a pick'em game. It's an even spread with a frighteningly low total of 37.5. Vegas is telling this is going to be a shit fest, and it may in fact be that, Jeff. But I got the Broncos. Are you? Do you think Gangrene is going to keep it rolling here all the way out to Colorado?
Is this the guy who's back in Denver that a couple weeks ago was calling the coach the Hatchet?
Yes. Yeah. No, Hack. I can't give him his full name. It's Nathaniel Hack.
Oh, okay. The Hack?
Yeah.
All of a sudden they become like gangbusters?
No. Jeff, here's the epiphany that I've had. Okay. We knew under Fangio had an amazing defense, right? So coming into this year, most of the same pieces are going to have an amazing defense. All of this is true. Patrick Surtain is not to be effed with, man. He is not to be thrown at. He is not to be gambled against. He is not to be played a fantasy player against, right? We saw what he did to Mike Williams. Mike Williams was literally going Jerry Rice on the bit, and Patrick Surtain said, not tonight. So I don't think the Jets passing him is going to get anything done against Denver. And so that's going to hurt Breece Hall. And I just don't see the Jets moving the ball, Jeff. I don't see them putting points on the board. So it's not like I've come around on Denver. I'm picking the lesser of two evils here, my friend.
I have to disagree with you on this one. I think it's more of a revenge game than anything, because last season, Denver embarrassed the Jets 26-0. It was in, I think, week 4. Now, football players, coaches, they remember these things. Robert Saleh, he probably remembered it. He's preaching to his team all week long. Yes, Denver's defense is very good, and that's probably the only reason people are talking about them and that they're in the conversation anymore, because the offense is completely a mess. The Denver defense keeps that team in games and keeps them relevant. The revenge factor here is the fact that, again, with the Jets, they played some mighty good ball against Green Bay last week. They blocked the punt. They did what they had to do. And the whole idea about this game is taking advantage of turnovers. Denver's going to turn the ball over. Russell Wilson's shoulder, he's questionable right now. They might have Ripien behind him. He might start. I'll tell you the truth. Right now, with the way the offense is going, I think this is going to be a very low-scoring game. Denver gets into a lot of low-scoring games. You don't know. Like on Monday night, it was because of that muff punt. That was the difference in the game. I mean, that game went back and forth. It was another boring, it's like primetime boring these days. And the matchups are terrible. Thursday night matchups are, so far there hasn't been really, oh yeah, I remember that game. It was a great game. They were all forgettable so far, But I'm sure when they would, putting the schedule together, they didn't think, oh, this is how it was going to be. But Denver this week, the offense is not going to get going again in a week. It takes a while. I'm with you, Nathaniel Hackett. He's definitely in over his head. He wasn't, just for all the new viewers that are out there, he didn't call the plays in Green Bay. Matt LaFleur did. you can call a guy whatever you want. It's like when you have an assistant coach on Belichick's team, his title might be one thing, but his actual responsibilities are going to be another. It's all like, and it's the same thing with other teams. It depends how the head coach relegates the duties of the team. Unless you're in there with the team, you really don't know who's calling the plays and who's not. But, things come out later. Denver, I think this game is going to be so close that a field goal is going to decide it. I would be very shocked if it gets a blowout either way. I mean, I'd be totally shocked if the Jets. That would be a shocker. But I call it a very close game. I think Jets win maybe by a field goal or some kind of turnover because Denver's going to turn the ball over. For a time.
It's hard to disagree with that watching all the Broncos football I've watched this year, especially if Rippon is in there. I feel like Russ is going to play. I feel like he's building in an excuse here, right? Ouch, ouch, my hammy. Ouch, ouch, my shoulder. Okay, so then I go out and absolutely suck and face plant. My shoulder, my hammy. I think it's a built-in excuse. And he's so, Bronco country, let's ride. All this cheesy crap. I'm so freaking out. I'm expunged on Russell Wilson. I could not be more out on a dude than I am on him right now. He's so cheesy, so corny, so disingenuous. And I could go on, but I won't. Jeff, appreciate you. Appreciate the tie. Appreciate the knowledge and the time and all the great stuff, man. The people here in the comment area, Jeff, are loving it. They send you a lot of love and compliments and praise, man.
I got one more game if we have time. Is it all right if we talk about one more game?
Hit me. What you got?
Well, I got to tell you something. There's the Sunday night game that I'm definitely high on. It's Pittsburgh at Miami, and there's a game within the game, if you know what I'm talking about. Who's one of the coaches? Who's one of the assistant coaches on Pittsburgh?
His name is Brian Flores.
That is correct. He is a defensive linebacker coach. You don't think he wants to win this game the worst way? He wants to annihilate Miami because of what they did on it. I think he got a raw deal. He was over 500, 2 out of 3. Miami, come on, please. There's certain things a blind man could see, and a blind man could see this guy got robbed. Okay, Brian Flores was doing good things in Miami, and you give him a shot, you give him a chance, you give him the right tools. I think he could have really turned that franchise around. They haven't been good. Was the quarterback. Pittsburgh is a big dog in this game, but I see them with the big upset of the week. They go down to Miami. Tua is coming off his injury. It's going to be a little wobbly. He's going to want to force that ball, prove to everybody, hey, the Pittsburgh defense is going to step up, and they're going to win this game outright. And you heard it here first.
Jeff Cadillac with his next week, we'll be talking about it, man, how you did in that one. I love the passionate, hey, before I go, I got to get this out, Jeff. I'm here for it, man. We'll be watching and thinking about you certainly on Sunday night. Jeff, you the man. Have a great weekend, okay? Thank you, Rick, and you too. You too. Have a great weekend. My guy right there, Jeff Cadillac, NFL analyst. Appreciate him joining us. A little college football talk around the corner. When we come back, maybe time permitting, I'll take you into some of the NBA box scores. Tons of games, 6 of them going on right now. You're in a good spot. It's Rick Kamla on Bettor Sports Live.
Bettor Sports Live. It's Moose and Keith with Mark Malusis and Keith Irizarry.
Moose and Keith with you. Let's welcome aboard right now Ian Eagle. One of the great stories that I have from doing notes on a plane, and you always get people looking over. They see color-coded uniform numbers, names, height, weight, age, background, hometown. And I had a woman sitting next to me on a flight, and I'm doing my notes, and she's kind of giving the look, then looking, and I can tell she's looking. And then finally, she'll say, so what is it that you do? Well, what do you think I do? She said, are you a wedding planner? I said, yes. I said, I have to put Rob Gronkowski at Tom Brady's table. I said, you know what? You're not correct, but it's the best answer I've ever heard. That's great.
Corey Nando and Friends, presented by Mayo Media.
far as fantasy life, fantasy executive, it's going to be a football life. The fantasy executive is probably going to be the best football life ever.
Who will be the guest? Everyone who was on yesterday. Basically.
Yeah, everybody that's on yesterday will be the guest. Scott Ingram, you know what I'm saying? Adam Ronis. Yeah, everybody, those people. Because what Nando, obviously you'll be there. You know what I'm saying? We'll go to the GST and shoot some scenes. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be nice.
We'll shoot some scenes in Midtown Manhattan. Antonio Brown can be on my football life,
That'd
right?
be nice.
Because that's a big part of my come up as a fantasy analyst. Everybody, the football life, the fantasy executive is going to be for the people. When they do the football life on the fantasy executive, I'm going to be hands on.
Good. Yeah. You talking to you.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Cheetos or Doritos?
I truly love both. Cool Ranch Doritos.
Oh.
I grew up on Cheetos. I was a big Chester Cheetah guy.
Oh, nice.
But Ray, as I have aged into adulthood, I've moved away from the fun that is the Cheeto, and I've gone to the, more cosmopolitan Cool Ranch Dorito chip. So I'm probably a Cool Ranch guy. How about you?
I would go Doritos. I don't like Cool Ranch. The traditional, original, regular, whatever it is really good. But my favorite's actually the sweet chili, the purple bag. Oh, it's delicious. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the one that sucks, and I think we can all agree on this one, taco.
Yeah.
I know a lot of things, and I'm perfect at a lot of things. My Dorito trivia is a little shaky.
Okay.
A little shaky, but I think taco is the first flavor.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla on Better Sports Network.
You hear the Ohio State fight song right there. Big weekend of college football, folks. We'll be covering it for you tomorrow morning. I am Rick Kamla. We are Better Sports Live. And as we take a look at the top 25 matchups, my Minnesota Golden Gophers are at Penn State. And I want to start there because I can tell you right now, Ohio State minus 30 against Iowa. They're probably going to get there, but I don't know. It's 30. It's Iowa. They are a good defensive team. So, maybe they win by 4 touchdowns, not 30. But this one right here, Minnesota, I do feel good about. Penn State is good this year. They got a good quarterback in Sean Clifford. They've got a good banging defense. They've got backs. They've got wideouts. They've got a really good team. They're 16th in the country. They're 5-1, and they're laying only 5 at home to Minnesota. Minnesota is abundantly overrated, folks. Real overrated. Trust me, I know them. I watch them. They're my alma mater. Okay. What they do is PJ Fleck stuffs the ballot box and pads the stats early in the year with cupcake matchups. And then they get into the Big Ten and they get into the really tall weeds of the Big Ten and they lose. And everybody says, well, we'll get them next year. It's how it goes. This year, 4-0. And then you get into the meat of the Big Ten schedule. And now you've gone loss. Okay. And they've lost to Purdue and Illinois. I promise you that before the season began, nobody in Minnesota was looking at those and going, oh, we're going to lose to Purdue and lose to Illinois. They were saying win-win. Okay. So this is what Minnesota does. They beat New Mexico State 38-0. They beat WIU 62-10. They beat Colorado 49-7. They beat Michigan State 34-7, which is admittedly an impressive win. Michigan State's not great this year, but that's pretty damn good at Michigan State, 34-7. At that point, they had everybody all tantalized, and they had everybody all teased in Minnesota. Oh, this is going to be the year. Oh, my God, we're finally going to do it this year. No, you're not. Boom, boom, 2 losses, season over. Bye-bye. Not going to be in the Big Ten championship game. Wrong, sir. You're not going to be in the Big Ten title game. You're not going to go to the college football playoff. Another overrated season from the overrated PJ Fleck. And all this running and all this cute little hokey gimmicks. I'm seeing right through all those BS smoke screens. It's an act. It's just to snow the people of Minnesota with more snow. And they absolutely love him up there. Might be a nice man. Might do great stuff in the community. And we appreciate that. But I don't care about that for this purpose. We're trying to win you money. I'm on Penn State -5 here. To me, this line should be higher than this. It should. Minnesota lost to Purdue at home 20-10. Purdue Purdue's good. I picked them to win their side of the Big Ten. Okay, but you got run at home by Purdue, 20-10. I watched the game. Minnesota was barely competitive the entire game. Purdue just kind of went in there and handled them. Then last week at Illinois, you lose 26-14. Okay, Illinois is good. They have a good defense this year. They're 24th in the land. Last I heard, Chase Brown is the leading rusher in college football. And so Illinois is actually not the same old cruddy Illinois. Brett Bielema they're doing a good job with that team. But that's a game you can't lose if you're Minnesota, but they lost it. So now you're going to Penn State. And it's 7:30 on ABC. Oh my God, this is the absolute trap for Minnesota. It's a big spot, national TV, everybody watching, the city talking about it, and they face plant. I'm telling you, you're going to have Herb Street and Fowler on the call of this game. Big deal. But what's going to happen here is when they take the game live, you're going to see nothing but a sea of white towels. And you're going to be like, oh, that's Death Valley. Okay. Happy Valley, I should say. Death Valley is LSU and Clemson. Oh, that's Happy Valley. That's what they talk about. It's a crazy home field advantage for Penn State. Okay, so I got Penn State -5. Like that one quite a bit. And take it from your boy about the choky Minnesota Golden Gophers. In terms of some of the other lines here, Clemson's laying 14 at Syracuse, at home against Syracuse. I don't know. I like this one. If I had to play it, I'd be on the Clemson side. But Syracuse has a good defense. They do. And they've got Sean Tucker, who's amazing. We'll be clamoring for him in dynasty leagues next year in fantasy football. He's that good. And Schrader's their quarterback. He's a running quarterback. He's gotten better throwing the ball this year, but I'm not a huge fan. He's a college quarterback. You're not going to be hearing about Garrett Schrader at the next level. At least I don't think so. You never know. Nathan Peterman, I think he's still employed in the NFL, which is absolutely shocking. So I'd be on the Clemson side, but that's a stay away for me. In terms of Texas and Oklahoma State, I like Oklahoma State here. And Oklahoma State is getting 6, and they are. This is in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Help me understand how Texas is laying 6. Spencer Sanders hurt or something like that. Anthony, maybe you can help me out with that. But that line looks real weird. Okie State is 11th, 5-1. Texas is 20th, 5-2. And Texas is at Stillwater laying 6. There may have been, something going on there. That's fishy as hell. Let me do a quick searcher on Spencer Sanders. If Spencer Sanders is playing in this game, this is a all the way giddy up on Oklahoma State. All the way giddy up on Florida State. It says QB Sanders out versus Longhorns. All right, with a question mark. Okay, so we're off of that one. So there's questions about Sanders playing in that game. Alabama and Mississippi State. Alabama is laying 21 here to a Mike Leach spread offense. I like Mississippi State to cover the spread here. I do. They're not going to win. They're not going to go to Tuscaloosa and win, but I do like them to cover the spread. They got my guy Will Rogers. Mississippi State is 5-2. They don't suck. They come off a loss to Kentucky, 27-17, and they were obviously competitive in that game. Kentucky got a real good game from Will Levis there. But in terms of this matchup right here, where my mind is at is that Will Rogers against Alabama, they're going to throw the ball a ton, and Alabama is going to score a lot of points. But Mississippi State has the offense to keep up. So I will play the dog here. I will take Mississippi State to stay inside the line. It's all about the quarterback. If they did not have a quarterback that I liked and trust and who's vetted, I would not be giving you this information right now. But I do like Mississippi State to cover that spread. And then lastly, I like TCU to keep it rolling. They're 6-0. They're really the buzz of college football right now. The best story in college football. They're 8th in the land. They're 6-0. They're 3-0 in the Big 12. TCU is actually a college football playoff contender right now, and it's absolutely shocking that we're saying that right now. They've got Kansas State in their house. Kansas State is good. They're 5-1, 17th in the country. And Adrian Martinez is their quarterback. He is running the ball. He is putting up big stats. I've got him in one of my college football fantasy lineups this week. But TCU, to me, the way they're rolling right now, and as good as they look, they got the defense, they got backs, they got wide receivers. Duggan is playing the best he's ever played, and they're at home. So I will lay the 3.5 here. I like the number. I do. This is kind of a play the number kind of thing. If it's 4.5, 5, all right, it's in that weird zone, right? 3.5. I'll give you a 3 and a hook. I think TCU can win by 4, win by 5, win by a touchdown, and get us home here. I do. Adrian Martinez is a guy historically that has not really risen in the biggest of games. And this is a big game. It's 8 o'clock on FS1, national TV, 2 ranked teams. So I will go ahead and bet against him in that regard. But in terms of Ohio State, I know we played their music coming in. I don't know, man. I can't get with 30 on either side. I certainly can't take Iowa with their defunct offense, and I can't. But they're so good defensively. I can't. Oh, their defense isn't going to matter. They're going to go to the shoe, and Stroud's going to throw for 5 or 6 touchdowns. This is an Iowa defense, and they always make it tougher on you. So I can't go there. I can't go there. So that one's a stay away for me. Back to the top story here. Rick Kamla on Bettor Sports Live on the Bettor Sports Network with Christian McCaffrey going to the San Francisco 49ers. I want to address this side. Do I like the trade for both sides? I love it for San Francisco. I don't like it for Carolina. What they got, Carolina, was a second-round pick in 2023, next year's draft, and a third and a fourth. So they're going to go, basically they completely poached San Francisco's draft. San Fran's second, third, and fourth round picks next year are going to Carolina. And they get a 5th round pick in 2024. So you got a second, a third, a fourth, and a 5th for Christian McCaffrey. As I say this, it brings up a very curious trade that I've always wondered about. Marshall Faulk went from the Colts to the Rams for a second and a 5th. I believe that's what it was. I'm almost positive about that. This was mid-Marshall Faulk's career. And I was like, there's no way the Colts didn't get a first-round pick for Marshall Faulk. They did not. I'm getting those vibrations right now. And coincidentally, McCaffrey and Faulk are very similar players, right? Dual threat, catch the ball a lot, lots of wiggle, lots of make you miss, foot in the dirt, all that cool stuff that makes us ooh and ah and creates viral highlights. Carolina is just dumb. They're just dumb. They don't get it. They hired the wrong coach. They hired the wrong OC. They traded for the wrong quarterback. They made the wrong trade here with San Francisco. It's wrong. It's just wrong all the way around. You have to get a first-round pick for Christian McCaffrey. The deadline, folks, is November 1st. If this were, October 31st. So if this were October 31st, cool, strike the deal. You waited. All right, there's no first out there for us. Cool. Let's pull the trigger here. Second, third, fourth, fifth. Let's do the deal with San Fran. Because this deal would be out there the whole time. San Fran's not going anywhere. If they think that they might get McCaffrey, taking it all the way up to the deadline, they're not shipping out their second, third, and fourth and 5th round picks in the future. They're going to keep them just in case Carolina wants to pick that phone back up and say, yo, let's strike a deal. This is dumbassery by the Carolina Panthers front office. Why are you doing this now? Oh, we don't want to play Christian McCaffrey and have him get hurt, and then we have no trade. Come on, man. Be more creative. First of all, it's football. These guys play. Guys get hurt. I think the Niners would still trade for Christian McCaffrey with this exact package, even if he had an ankle sprain. I would. Okay, let's bring him in. Let's heal him up, and boom, shot out of a cannon as we make a playoff run with this guy. Carolina had to get a first-round pick. It's a joke that they didn't. And I'm not going to sit here and say they needed multiple first-round picks. No, I'm not saying that. He's a running back. He's not a quarterback. But one first-round pick, I would understand if Christian McCaffrey were on a Zeke Elliott type of contract, a horrible contract that nobody wants and it's poisonous and toxic and all that kind of stuff, and Dallas is stuck with him and it. I would understand downgrading the pick capital to get rid of the money. That would make sense to me. If CMC were on a Zeke Elliott contract, cool. 2, 3, 4, 5 picks. I get it. But the Panthers are not getting rid of money. And they are tanking. So hold out until the league presents another option in advance of the November 1 deadline. Why do the deal now? You don't have to. You don't have to do the deal right now. So to me, that's bad GMing. Talking about the Christian McCaffrey trade to the San Francisco 49ers, Rick Kamla here on Bettor Sports Network. Let me take a quick swig of water here, and I'll tell you, I'll spin you a little yarn about me personally in fantasy and how this trade is an absolute buzzkill. So I explained this story in a major Sirius XM fantasy sports radio. It's like all those guys and a bunch of experts. It's 32-team league, 16 on both sides. There's a South Conference and a North Conference. I love this league. I took over a team that sucked. I didn't have a running back. I didn't have a quarterback. I had Marquise Brown as my best wide receiver. Gronk was my best player at tight end. Seriously, that's what it was. I did have good pieces on defense. Levante David and Joey Bosa and Jamal Adams. And there were some good pieces on defense. And so I made the decision that year, the first year. I mean, I literally did not have a quarterback. So I chose Joe Burrow over. I had the number 1 pick because the team was so butt rotten. And I chose Joe Burrow over Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jonathan Taylor. That was that draft. Did I make the right call? I don't know. History will show us whether I did or not, but I can't go a year without a quarterback. I got a quarterback. I'm pretty happy with Joe Burrow, okay? I think he's going to go to the Hall of Fame and have an amazing career. So I had to really bite the bullet there and let running backs, especially Jonathan Taylor, you know the opinion I've got about Jonathan Taylor. That is one of the toughest decisions I've ever had to make in fantasy. Okay, so the first year I go 6-6, barely missed the playoffs with a ragtag team. I mean, I willed that team to 6-6. Last year, I go to, I don't know, guys, 10-3, 9-4, something like that. Won a playoff game and then lost. So this year I'm coming in and you can't tell me nothing, man. I'm winning a chip. I got a badass defense. I got Burrow. I've added T. Higgins and I've got Hunter Renfrow and I've got like Devontae Smith. I made a big trade to get him. So I'm getting better offensively, right? And I'm moving towards competitiveness in this league, like where I actually think I can win the title. So what I decided to do was get the San Francisco backfield. Okay. And so I'm trying to think here. So it was TDP and Wilson and Elijah Mitchell. So I trade a first round pick for Elijah Mitchell, the first round pick this year for Elijah Mitchell. Okay. I need a running back. I need a main running back. I tried to shop the first for other better running backs. Nothing was out there. Cool. I'll take Elijah Mitchell. Like literally I had nothing at running back. Like when Mixon is out, I was starting P. Ryan. When Taylor was out, I was starting Nyheim Hines. Like when I had Sony Michel. So when Henderson or Akers were out, I was playing Sony Michel, right? Like I was waiting on a starter to get hurt so that one of the backups that I had could play and be good. Like that was the state of my running back situation. Okay, that's how bad this team was that I took over. I had to go get Elijah Mitchell, and I did. I gave up a first round pick in this year's draft for him. So I then said, yeah, I know he's injury prone. So what I'm going to do now is go get Tyrion Davis-Price, who, don't be mad at me now, go back to June and July. A lot of positivity and bright thoughts and opinions about TDP. Okay, he's gotten hurt. It hasn't worked out. I gave up a 2023 first-round pick for TDP. And you say, why? How? What are you doing? It's a 16-team league, and he was taken with the 14th pick in this year's draft. He was a first-round pick in this year's draft. Did that piss me off? You're damn right it did. Because I wanted him to fall to the second round. He didn't. Went first round. Okay, screw it. I got to trade for this guy. I gave up a 2023 first for TDP. Okay, so I've got TDP. I've got Elijah Mitchell, but I'm missing one very important piece. And that one very important piece is my guy, my homie, Jeff Wilson, who is on another team. And I remember I sent a trade request out, and it was I was giving up my third round pick, getting a fourth round pick back. I gave him Gary Brightwell, and I got back Jeff Wilson. Fair trade, right? Because everybody thought Jeff Wilson was trash. They always do. I'm like, this is my guy. I know he's good. He just needs the window to open to opportunity, and it did, and he's been good. He fumbled last week and got benched, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, boom, comes through. Trade is successful. Trade is accepted. Yes. I remember I was hanging with my wife outside. I was actually in the pool with my phone, and I'm like, He accepted the deal. Yes. I said yes because I had the San Francisco running back monopoly in a very important SiriusXM Dynasty League. And so not only am I good for this year, but with Elijah Mitchell and Tyrion Davis-Price and Jeff Wilson, I am good for the next 3, 4, 5 years with this monopoly in a Kyle Shanahan offense where they run the ball so magnificently. And I've got all three of his guys. Elijah Mitchell, young guy, draft capital. TDP, young guy, draft capital. Jeff Wilson, they love him out there. They do. They're not going to go get another running back. I'm good. And they're good. And we're good together. And they're going to help me win a championship with this badass defense I have. And now I've got some wide receivers and I've got Joe Burrow. Let's go. And then last night around midnight Eastern time, I got the news that Christian McCaffrey was traded to the San Francisco 49ers. Nuclear mushroom cloud. I'm not giving up. I'm not throwing in the towel. Nothing like that. But you can pour some beer on the floor for me for a lost homie. You know, whatever that whole joke is. This news could not be like worse received by your boy Cam. Christian McCaffrey went to the San Francisco 49ers. Are you freaking kidding me? All that work. I had to pull off 3 trades. Do you know how hard it is in 2022 to pull off 3 trades? And it's not just me. It's getting somebody to agree to these trades. I'm a big trader, especially in dynasty leagues. I love it. I may piss you off. I may annoy you. I am going to offer you trades in a dynasty league. Like in a redraft league, okay, blow me off. But this is dynasty. These are our babies. These are our teams. I love dynasty leagues. Like they're absolutely by far my favorite teams because they're our players. We get them for a long time. And so 3 trades, cooked the whole thing up. I'm 5-1 in this league, looking at a championship, and now I don't have a running back again. And now I don't have a running back again. I'm right back in the same situation I was. You know, I don't want to speak some sort of future buzzkill into existence, so I'm going to stop right there. I will tell you this, though. You say, why did your team lose last year, Cam? You were 9-4, 10-3, whatever it was. And you're like, well, how do you not remember the record? I'm in a million leagues, bro. That's why. But I had an elite record. I was one of the big boys, and I lost. You know why I lost? Because I believe I had Sony Michel get hurt in a game that I played him. But and you only have to start one running back in this league, right? So I started one running back, and he let me down. And it was Michel or somebody, but they got hurt. I got a 1 or 2 or 3, like just a really lame performance. That's why I lost. That's why I lost. If I would have gotten 15 or 20 from my running back, I would have won. Still playing, and then who knows, you know, against the tall trees of this league, I might have won the championship. I might not if I didn't even track my team against their team moving forward. I don't like to torture myself that way. When I lose, I lose. Right? So that's my story to tell. Christian McCaffrey going to the San Francisco 49ers is an absolute devastating fantasy buzzkill for your boy Rick Kamla on Bettor Sports Network. All right. Now, in terms of Sunday, there is reporting that CMC is going to play. Why wouldn't he? Right? Why wouldn't he play? So I believe he will be out there and giving it a go for the people one time. But I do believe he'll be out there. And the reporting here is, let me give you this report real quick. Kyle Shanahan said it's up in the air. Obviously, a little gamesmanship right there with Andy Reid. NFL insider Jordan Schultz says there's a pretty good chance Christian McCaffrey will play against the Chiefs. So, look, I think it's very simple here. We're not going to know until like day of game because they don't want the other side to know that he's playing. But the other side's going to know that he's playing. But right, you just want to keep that little piece of doubt in the brain. And so I think that's what's going on there. CMC will play, and it is a game where it's not like a Sunday night game or a Monday night game. Like you're going to be able to like play it out with McCaffrey up to game time. I believe he's going to be active. If he's active, you got to play him. Okay, even against the Chiefs and whose defense is better this year. But I believe you're going to play Christian McCaffrey, and I believe Christian McCaffrey is probably going to do some things on Sunday in his first game with the Niners where we're like, thank God I put him in my – look, he's an absolute rock star. When he's active, you play him. That's the rule, right? Like T. Higgins recently, right? It's been really weird with injury reports, and he's good to go, but then he's standing on the sideline and this in and out thing, right? If T. Higgins is active, I'm playing T. Higgins. And if they play this decoy game with him, then they play the decoy game with him. But I don't have a better guy than T. Higgins on my bench, and you don't have a better guy than T. Higgins on your bench, okay? So let's take a break right here. Coming up around the corner, we have another terrific guest, Lance Goodman. He is an NFL fantasy expert, and he will hang out with your boy Cam. We'll talk fantasy football. We'll talk the CMC trade. We will also talk about some prop bets as we move along here. I'm Rick Kamla. We are Better Sports Live.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Better Sports Live on Better Sports Network. Corey, Nando, and Friends, presented by Mayo Media on Better Sports Network.
I'm convinced that Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Babe Ruth is not real. No, it's not. Babe Ruth is not real. We've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled. We've been led astray. We've been run amok.
Keep going.
Babe Ruth. I don't know the rest. Babe Ruth is a fictional character. I'm dead serious. Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Y'all are never going to get me to believe that Babe Ruth is real. Babe Ruth is like a baseball Santa Claus. I'm not buying it. After I saw those highlights last night of Babe Ruth, I'm like, there's no way you can tell me that Babe Ruth is a real person. Who do you know? There is nobody under the sound of my voice that has ever seen Babe Ruth play. I asked my pop, you ever seen Babe Ruth play? He's like, no. Nobody's ever seen Babe Ruth play.
Come on.
I'm telling you, Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Even Babe Ruth baseball cards, it looked like it's drawn. Like, Babe Ruth is not real. Y'all trying to pull a fast one. Listen, I don't know who made this up. Maybe it was Phil Rizzuto. Maybe it's the Lenny Melnick. But Babe Ruth is not a real person. There's no way. Everything about Babe Ruth is sketchy. If you didn't go to the games, how do you know that it really happened? Or I listened on the radio. You listen to Ovaltine on the radio. That old school radio was all fiction. Everything on old school radio was fake. But you think Babe Ruth is real?
Look, he lived until 1948. So if you find someone who's like 85 years old, they might have remembered him when he was little, when they were a little teenager.
Babe Ruth was made up by baseball purists. I am certain.
You do that thing where you pause the Babe Ruth video and you zoom in and you zoom in and you zoom in. You see like some artist's autograph like right here.
Yeah, you like
digital mark right here. Yeah.
Somebody need to investigate this and see if Babe Ruth is a real person. I'm pretty sure Babe Ruth is a fictional character created to make people think that like there was this great jolly old baseball player that drank beers and ate hot dogs and hit 60 home runs. Like the home run record before Babe Ruth was like 14. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and
but
now
he figured it out. Like who figured out the dunk, right? Like he's just like, oh,
that's like Dr. J or something, right? Then Dr. J, probably was before Dr. J, but Dr. J made the dunk famous. Babe Ruth made the home run famous, or maybe that was a way to get people to like, we're gonna make baseball America's pastime. But in order to do so, we need somebody who we can make the face of the sport. And they didn't have no face of the sport. So they're like, okay, let's make him a fictional guy that played for the Red Sox and was traded to the Yankees for like tickets to tickets to cats. You know what I'm saying? Like the Red Sox get a Yankees.
You tried to say
is there any footage of Babe Ruth in the Red Sox uniform? None. I'm telling you, Babe Ruth is a fictional character.
Murray takes the shotgun snap, and they run it again. Benjamin off the right side hit, but dives for the end zone, sticks the ball out. They're going to mark him down at the 1. He bounced off of 2 tacklers, got down to the 1, and the clock is moving. 6:10 and counting. They just changed the call to a touchdown. The officials were having a conference. What an effort by Eno Benjamin.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla on Better Sports Network.
We are back, folks, and that touchdown by Eno kind of excited me. I'm an Eno Benjamin guy. I've actually got Eno. Here's the thing. The league that I just told you that story about, where I'm screwed at the running back position, right, with all the San Francisco 49ers now that CMC is a Niner. I have Eno Benjamin on that team, and I drafted him in the last round of a 6-round fantasy draft, I don't know, 3 years ago, coming out of Arizona State. And obviously, running back real estate is hard to get and keep in dynasty leagues. So like all of the rookie running backs go, right? So he was available very late, and I was like, Eno is super talented. He has the dead leg where you put the foot in the dirt and they go right, you go left. Like he's real jukey and real wiggly and real electric. And he slipped to the 7th round in the draft. And I was like, Benjamin went to the 7th round. Are you kidding me? So drafted, he's got 2 guys ahead of him. He had 2 guys ahead of him last year. Got a little bit of a turn last year, but didn't make the most of it. And so now he's in the end zone. And what a run that was. Boosh, 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 breaking tackles, working through the middle, and then doing a back flop, what would you call it? Like a back flop, I guess, into the end zone, right? Like if you just like fall into the pool, and had the ball up over his head and got the ball over the goal line. And live, I'm like, that's a touchdown. No, it's down at the 1, right? They always call the guy down at the 1 through review. They gave the touchdown to Eno. So that was a good touchdown for your boy Cam. I was pretty pleased with that. And he had a good yardage game. Like he had 18 or 19 points in the ESPN league that I'm in. At Better Boss is he's just rubbing it in right now. He says, I traded Jeff Wilson earlier this season and feeling great about it. I bet you are. That is a shrewd move by the Better Boss, a.k.a. Matt Deutsch. Some of the other comments here. Dave Poland's out here. What's up, Dave? We got Jalen in here. What's up? And many of you others are in here as well, commenting with your boy Cam. In moments, we're going to have Lance Goodman on here on the show talking about the slate in Week 7 here in the NFL with prop bets and with betting as well. Let's scan some of the games that we're tracking here. I gave you Philly tonight. Actually it was plus 100. They were a home dog tonight. They lead the San Diego Padres 1-0 right now. Pitchers duel, not a surprise there. Musgrove has been touched for a run, 2 hits, 2 walks, and 2 innings. So the base paths have been busy here with Phillies players. Schwarber has left the yard here for the 1 Philly run. And again, we go back to the reason why I liked Philly tonight. Their bats are not to be messed with, just like your boy Patrick Surtain out there in Denver, where quarterbacks and wide receivers go today. Kyle Schwarber, bang, home run, and so the Phillies lead 1-0, and that was a home run to lead off the game for the Phillies bats. And since Joe Musgrove has settled down, like I said, hasn't given up a run since we're in the top of the 3rd inning. The Padres are at the plate right now against Ranger Suarez, who I told you I had a hunch tonight. The Ranger Suarez. He was a discovery of mine 2 years ago in one of Matt Deutsch's host leagues over at SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, a baseball league. And I picked up Ranger Suarez. He was a middle reliever at the time. Microscopic whip in ERA, like a 0.86 ERA and a 0.50 whip or something like that. Crazy good numbers, unhittable. I'm going to pick this guy up. And so now he's mushroomed into a starting pitcher. The guy's And since I've just been singing his praises, bang, bang, 2 more outs. And now he's through innings of 1-hit baseball, no runs, no walks, 3 Ks. I had a hunch that Ranger Suarez was going to pitch well tonight. And in fact, he has. But the real metrics that led me to Philly tonight, and certainly a long way to go. I'm not cashing tickets yet, right? But it's the lineup. Philly has averaged 8.5 runs per game at home in these playoffs, 2 games, both wins. And they're averaging 6 runs per game over their last 4 games against everybody. So their offense is cooking at an historic level. That's why I went with Philadelphia tonight. Like I said, we're through 5 trips to the plate here with many, many more to go. And I think there's going to be a lot of twists and turns and all that kind of stuff in this game. But Philly leads right now 1-0. Let's check in on some of our NBA prop bet suggestions tonight. I gave you Paulo Banchero at 16.5. He is tracking below that number right now. 6 points, 2 of 7 from the field. He does have a pretty good fantasy line here: 2 blocks, 1 steal, and that stuff is good. But we took the over on his point prop, so we need that one to bang and get. And take that one home. And so far, no good. John Collins is winning the head-to-head matchup with him right now. Collins has 13-8, and he may be teaching the young fella some tricks right now. It is a road game. They were at Detroit the other night. Orlando has yet to play a home game, but long way to go here. It's halftime, and the Magic with a lead over the Atlanta Hawks, 54-50, and the Hawks now are on upset alert. Cole Anthony getting busy. He has 17 points on 3 of 4. He missed the Wednesday game with an illness, and he is back and playing very, very well tonight for Orlando, and that is outstanding news for me in a dynasty league, a 30-team dynasty league where I have Cole Anthony. Remember how pissed I was the other night working with Lisa Ann? And I saw on my phone, Cole Anthony out, illness. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Like, because he's in weekly lineups, right? Lineups where I can't take him out. And so I'm like, all right, I got Cole Anthony with an illness here, but he's playing tonight and playing very, very well. He's got 17 points, like I said, at halftime. And we are going to bring our guest on right about now. I don't want to bum rush you here, Lance, as you get everything figured out. Can you hear me? Can I hear you? Let's have some fun, man. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going? Yes, finally able to get things figured out enough here. So I appreciate you having on the show. Excuse any mishaps on my part, but very happy to join the show.
Oh, yeah, it's all good. I didn't even know what time it was. I'm just riffing here, and I looked down. Oh, it's 8:35. I didn't even know you were having some issues getting on with us here. But Lance Goodman, NFL fantasy expert. So Lance, tell me a little bit about yourself, man. How long you been in fantasy football? Where we can read and watch and listen to your stuff. What do you got going on, man?
Absolutely. So I've been at this for about maybe 8 years. Lifelong NFL fan. Played in Little League, things of that nature. So I'm definitely a lifelong fan. Somebody who's just all about the culture, all about the sport. You can find me on NFLexporter.com. That's the official home and hub for our fantasy football podcast, which is called the Extra Points Fantasy Football Show, the place where you get expert fantasy advice for champions.
I love it. And a good bill right there, and a good tout by you. Would you, Lance, I'll ask you a question here. I want to know, you want to talk point spreads here? You want to talk prop bets? Do you want to talk general fantasy advice? You tell me, man. Where do you want to go? You want to go props? You want to go ATS? You want to go fantasy? Talk to me.
If we have time, let's tackle all three. And obviously, fantasy football. I think that's the thing. And you know what? They're all tied up there, but we'll go to fantasy football route first.
Okay. So would you, if Christian McCaffrey is active, Lance, on Sunday afternoon, are you playing him against Kansas City? Or are you worried that they'll have a committee with it, that being his first game there? Obviously, he's been traded late in the week here. If he's active, will you greenlight him for fantasy managers?
In a flex play at the absolute most, from what I've been hearing, Rick, it may not be a go this week for him, just in regards to respecting the time. Today is Friday. Basically 2 days to prepare for a football game. And so if I've heard from, if he does play, it'll probably most likely be in a limited capacity, maybe some red zone packages and things of that nature. So obviously he's going to be much more risky than what he's going to be when he fully takes over that backfield and will continue to excel and flourish as one of the best fantasy running backs. But for this week specifically, especially if you have some good depth on your roster, especially in terms of the running back and wide receiver position, then this is one of those rare weeks where you may consider sitting him, considering the circumstances.
Interesting. How about the Carolina side here? Obviously, there is an absolute furious rush to pick up either Chuba Hubbard or Deontay Foreman, both capable backs. I have had that choice in many leagues. Last night overnight, the news came down right before I went to bed. It was about 1:45 in the morning, and the news had come out, I don't know, hour and a half before. And I'm like, well, I gotta stay up a little longer here and make some pickups, because by the time the morning and the news hits, all the people in the East time zone are going to be out there picking up Chuba and Foreman. So I got Chuba Hubbard in a bunch of my leagues. It is like a running back 4, a running back 5, right? We just got to churn the waiver wire, and when something pops, we got to go get that guy. And maybe it turns into something great, and maybe it doesn't. So in that regard, are you a Foreman guy? Or are you a Chuba Hubbard guy? Or do you think it is such a bleep show that you don't want anything to do with any of these Carolina running backs?
If you're in a position to, I wouldn't bother wasting my time with them. But we know the running back position, amongst many, out of all the positions, is the one where injuries are taking their toll the most. And so for an owner to have an opportunity to be able to get their hands on a quote unquote, and I think that's the big thing you're emphasizing here, there's no clarity on how this committee is going to break down. And that's exactly what interim coach Steve Wilkes has came out and said that this is going to be a committee situation led by Deonta Foreman. So obviously he's getting first dibs to try to get a stronghold on that position. But no, if I had a roster with enough depth and enough good players, I would not bother wasting my time with either one of those running backs if you're interested in winning the championship. From my perspective, Rick, just in terms, I think the team morale as a whole after Matt Rule getting fired, seeing Robbie Anderson go out the door, guys are pretty much coming to the realization that, this is a season where things are going to be transferring over to something new next year. So I don't think the locker room is in good morale condition. Their offensive line is one of the worst in the NFL. They're down to a third string running back. And so for owners who do grab them, and there will be a lot of owners who need those guys in those lineups. Me and you both know, Rick, a lot of times in these fantasy football matchups, it literally does come down to, 4 or 5 points. So those guys definitely have some value, from that standpoint. But as far as trusting them, expecting those guys to be major players to help your teams get into the playoffs, I would not put that much stock in either one of those guys unless I see it on the field first.
It's great analysis. Lance Goodman hanging out with Rick Camley here on Bettor Sports Live on the Bettor Sports Network. You can give Lance a follow at NFL Exporter. That's EXPORTER. Lance, it's fun to hang out with you, man. So let's talk about here in Week 7 in the NFL, the New York Giants at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I want to ask you, Lance, about Saquon Barkley. Believe it or not, and I'm not saying that to you, I'm saying it to everybody listening. This is a tough matchup. Jacksonville has a top 5 run defense in the National Football League. And we've seen games where I think the number on Saquon was 77.5. And to me, it's just so close to where I think he'll be. I can't get a wiggle, a tickle, anything on the spread. On the prop. So I'm kind of staying away there. And this is like a surprisingly difficult matchup here for Saquon Barkley against Jacksonville. Or Lance, do you disagree with that evaluation? And you think Saquon's going to go down to Jax here in Florida and run wild? What do you think?
And just for clarity, was that 77 rushing yards or all purpose?
It was rushing yards, and I'll firm up that prop right now. Let me see if I can get that for you here. I thought I saw 77.5. That was rushing yards for the great Saquon Barkley. 76.5. So do you think he can hit that number here against Jax? Are you staying away? Where are you at with that, Lance?
Yeah, I would be comfortable with that number on the season. His season average is above that. I certainly do respect that Jaguars defense, but in the bigger scheme of things, I see a defensive struggle. The Giants are one of the rare teams in the NFL, regardless of how unpretty the style may be. They've been one of the teams in the NFL, Rick, that have been consistent in terms of what you see on the football week to week. And what you see is a football team that can definitely keep games close. Brian Daboll is doing an excellent job in terms of utilizing Saquon Barkley and putting him in position to be able to succeed. And so, on average, that comes out to, let's just say 20 rush yards per quarter. That'll put him at 80 on the dot. So I think that is a realistic number. I think that for Saquon Barkley, a guy who was one of those rare backs right now, Rick, getting 20 plus carries per game, I would be shocked if he didn't come close to that number. I'm pretty sure the Jaguars and most defenses' game plan is to, stack the box and force Daniel Jones or someone else to beat them. But Saquon Barkley is a talented enough guy. And both me and Rick, guys like we mentioned Christian McCaffrey early, those guys can be kept quiet all game long. And then out of nowhere, they bust off a run for 30 or 40 yards. And we know he's one of the best in the business at that. And so, sure, some risk involved. But based on what we've seen this season, I'd be comfortable with the number.
I like it, Lance. Let's go back to San Fran here with McCaffrey. Maybe it's a limited amount of touches and that kind of thing. But I do know this. They're hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are coming off a loss. They're stinging right now, coming in at 4-2. Niners at 3-3. And KC is laying 2 points. Do you have the Chefs this week, or do you have the Niners all sort of full of adrenaline here with the McCaffrey trade? Which side of this one are you on, Lance?
If things were as simple as they seem, this would be an easy pick, taking Kansas City, giving 2 all day. In general, I myself like Anytime that I have a team as a favorite, if they're being asked to cover less than a field goal, which in a lot of cases is the magic number that you need to win, then it's a number I love. And so Kansas City, again, is one of the few teams in the NFL that regardless of the outcome of the game, it's been consistent on the week-to-week basis. I think San Fran is the team that you're really wondering about. I don't myself think the Christian McCaffrey trade is going to do much for this team in regards to morale or the guys being more pumped up. I think the Niners should be more concerned about getting that defense back fully healthy. You know, the 49ers are one of those teams that have been ravaged by injuries the last couple of years. And we've seen last report, and you see the majority of 49ers defensive players out again, then that would lead you to be inclined to think Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and their offense at the end of the day would have their way. But I expect it for it to be an exciting game. It's one that I'm staying away from. But if I were to put something on the game, I would have to just take my chances with KC, again, needing less than a field goal to win.
So, Lance, let me paint for you or not paint for you. Let me give you a blank canvas right here. Because I'm asking you about games that interest me, right? And that, you know, I mean, this is the NFL. We're all interested in all of this stuff. Do you have some touts for me? Do you have an upset pick? Do you have a game that, oh, man, I got the read on this game. Like, I feel really, really good about this one. Let's take this one to the house. Like I felt about some of my NBA props tonight. So the floor is yours. Like, hit me with some of the big opinions you have going into this week.
Yeah, you know, when I take a look at these games, you know, it's kind of really hard right now as we head into the season because these games have been really inconsistent. And I think that's the biggest thing that probably has people, myself, me and you included, on their heels a little bit, so to speak, because there really have only been a few teams in the NFL that have been consistent. And so thinking about the games that are going on this upcoming weekend, a couple games that do pique my interest to a certain degree. It would be the Chargers and Seattle game. Right now, based on the way that the Chargers have played, which has been inconsistent, the way that the Seattle Seahawks offense, for the most part, Geno Smith has been a big surprise from what he's been able to do with the football. You know, the last I seen, Seattle was getting 5. And so that's a number that I like a lot, you know, looking around for teams that are getting points and not teams that are only getting points, but teams getting points that can actually score. And so, you know, I like that number for Seattle. Yes, their defense has been suspect. But again, just from the standpoint of a team getting points, getting more than a field goal, that can put some points up. I like what Seattle could potentially do there. Another game that probably would pique my interest, you know, would be the Detroit Lions. You know, last I seen, I believe they were getting maybe 6.5, perhaps out towards 7 at Dallas.
That's correct.
Okay. And same thing, you know, I think that Detroit, again, is a team that although they have the worst defense in the NFL right now, offensively, they've certainly got a lot going for themselves, especially if DeAndre Swift is back healthy and in the lineup. They have him and Jamal Williams at running back. If wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown is back fully healthy, him and Josh Reynolds have really been doing a lot of positive things. TJ Hawkinson, one of the better tight ends in the NFL. And so I think that one there certainly could be a tricky play. I know that Dallas's defense has been dominant, but I wouldn't be shocked to see Dak Prescott. He's a human being, have some rust, you know, maybe take him a while to get around. Maybe Dallas's game plan can be a little more conservative. So those are two games off the top of my head, you know, that kind of stick out to me that I think, again, owners getting points with teams that have shown all season long, they can put some points on the board.
I think it's a great theory. I do. We've all got our sort of, you know, angles, right? Our go-to angles. I think that's a good one. Looking for points with teams that can score the ball. I really do, Lance. That's something I'm going to remember. So let me ask you. Let's stay in this game here. CeeDee Lamb is at 72.5 with his receiving yards prop in the return of Dak Prescott. I feel like, Lance, you know, Michael Gallup at 51.5. It's a bit of a leap of faith, right? He hasn't given us a resume so far this year to back up that number. We do know, though, that Dak Prescott vibes with Michael Gallup. And I'm not saying he doesn't vibe with CeeDee Lamb, but we know that Dak is comfortable with Michael Gallup. go routes down the sideline, fade routes in the end zone, crossers over the middle, but especially like the little over-the-shoulder joints on the sideline, right? He loves those feathery throws over the shoulder of Michael Gallup, and they're in sync like that. So which of these props do you like? Do you not like? Are you staying away? But we got CeeDee Lamb at 72.5. We got Michael Gallup at 51.5. Lance, I feel like if we play both of them, we can't lose. I feel like one of these guys at least is going over this number. But what's your diagnosis of that?
I will go the safer route and go with Michael Gallup. I totally agree with you. No shade to CeeDee Lamb at all. But Michael Gallup has had a longer running relationship with Dak Prescott. He's a guy who's been in and out of the lineup quite a bit since Dak Prescott has been there. But when he has been in the lineup, he has been someone that Dak Prescott has religiously gone to. And so the lower number, playing a little bit closer to the vest, 50 yards. I think that's very reasonable. Again, we're talking about at least the first 7 weeks of the season. Detroit has been one of the worst defenses, if not the worst defense in the NFL, but they can put up points. So I would not be surprised to see this to be a bit of an up and down game. And again, I think 50 is a much more reachable number for Michael Gallup with Dak Prescott back at quarterback, as opposed to 72 for CeeDee Lamb, 72.5. Although I do think that is a realistic number. I would say if Dak Prescott was fully healthy, we would definitely expect for this game to be somewhat of a shootout, and both of those guys being able to reach those numbers, I would say pretty strongly. But I think just with Dak Prescott's return this week could make the higher perhaps a little bit more difficult to reach. But we know CeeDee Lamb is definitely a big play guy.
The guys keep coming with great guests, man. What can I say, Lance Goodman? This is really enjoyable, and I want to keep it going here a little bit longer, if that's okay with you. I want to ask you, Lance, about your fantasy season that you're having so far. I talk with people all the time about this, and we're talking about the best minds in the game, right? People that have played this game 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 15 years, paid to evaluate fantasy football. And I keep hearing, man, I basically 3-3, 4-3, 3-4, like all just hovering around 500, all of this parity. I've got a couple of 5-1s. I've got one team that's absolute trash. It's a dynasty league though. So it's like, okay, it's a dynasty league. All right, I'll get a high pick. And so it's not a redraft league that's trash. I don't rock that way, Lance. But for whatever reason, this team is 1-5. I can't get any traction at all. A couple of 5-1s. And that I'm excited about. And then I got a bunch of teams in the middle at 3-3, like a bunch, almost at 3-3, 3-3, 3-3, 3-3. So I don't know, Lance, I'm in 13, 14, 15 leagues. I actually don't even know the exact number. I know how to get them and update them and put lineups in and win, but I don't know how many teams I'm in, how many leagues I'm in. So how many leagues are you in and how are you doing?
Yeah, currently in 7 leagues. And that number is down from what its normal total is. But, that is with the additions of, how you said, these bets, these prop bets, there's definitely some other angles and avenues to take to be able to, keep the chips stacking in. So, but 7 leagues right now. And I'm in the same shoes as you, Rick. I would imagine that, any owners who are probably in 4 or 5 leagues or more, which, has become the new norm now, will be in similar shoes. It's way too much inconsistency across the board, and a lot of big changes. Just off the top of my head, you think about Tom Brady. We had a great article on NFLexporter.com. Again, that's NFLEXPORTER.com. We'll make sure we get it to you on the social media as well in the post here with Rick and the Bettor Sports Network, but too much inconsistency. Think about Tom Brady. The last couple years, he's had at his disposal a healthy Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski. Those guys put up monster numbers. Those guys aren't there no more. Tom Brady's numbers are down. You take Devonta Adams away from Aaron Rodgers in that offense, the numbers are down. Think about right now, Rick, how many potential busts, and really at least through the first 7 weeks of the season. Look at how many busts at the running back position. Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, James Conner. I mean, these are some big names that owners are really banking on.
Elliott, right?
Oh, man.
Zeke in there too.
Yeah, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones. Green Bay Packers. There's so many backs that are not performing at a high level, and it's really causing a lot of problems for fantasy owners. And so, you look at the landscape right now, like I said, I would imagine that owners are in the same shoes, and I'm in them. I have a couple of I have one league that I'm 1-5, 2 leagues I'm 2-4, 2 leagues that I'm 3-3, and then 2 leagues that I'm 5-1. So it's definitely spread across the board. I don't really think it's any way around it. You hate as a drafting style to draft all the same players on the same team because your fate is going to be stuck to whether those guys prevail or not. But, guys that we do see performing well right now, Rick, who I would imagine those fantasy owners, by and large, the waiver wire is something that's, very critical and important. Playing the right matchups and sometimes having the right guys in. Sometimes you don't have a guy in who goes off for a big game, but, you would think from what I'm seeing right now, a lot of value that I'm seeing, Rick, it was certainly worth owners' interest to grab Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews in the second round. That tight end position continues, to be a huge disparity in fantasy owners on a weekly basis. And when you see Andrews and Kelce, those guys are head and shoulders, above the next batch of tight ends. But I do like the guy I had ranked 6 coming in, who I think is the next best play right now will be Dallas Goedert of the Philadelphia Eagles. I really like the way that he's contributing on a weekly basis. And then to throw a gem, and I'll throw it back over to you, Rick, for you fantasy owners out there, in case you have not heard thus far, running back J.K. Dobbins of the Baltimore Ravens has got to get knee surgery. He's going to miss the next 4 to 6 weeks. And so Kenyon Drake, who racked up over 100 rushing yards last week in their game against the Giants, is going to step right in and be getting the full workload. So if you need a running back, if you are looking for some depth at the running back position, maybe if you even get Drake on your team to package up in a trade to have some extra value, he'd certainly be a guy that you want to go right now and get. It'd be the only reason that me and Rick would excuse you from leaving away from the broadcast for a minute was to go pick up Kenyon Drake, because he's certainly going to be worth your while.
I like it, man. I like it. Lance, Matt Deutsch, I'm in so many leagues, right, that I can't keep track of all this stuff. Matt just reminded me that you also are in his, Matt Deutsch, the czar here, of his IDP Dynasty League. And Lance, I felt like half of my summer was spent drafting this team, right? It was one of those slow email drafts. By the way, I'm not complaining. I love a slow email Dynasty draft. I freaking love it because I don't want to clock on a Dynasty pick. I don't. I'll do a Dynasty league with a clock. I'd rather not have a clock. And okay, I can really dig into this and really make sure that I love this pick and vet it and dot every I and cross every T. So you're in this league. I'm in this league. I'm not doing so well, Lance, because I took Jonathan Taylor number 1 overall. So let's start there. This is not working out with that arrangement. And then coming back, it's a help me out. How many teams are in this league? Is it 12 or 14 or 16?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe 12 and maybe 14, but 12 for sure.
And so it took a long time to come back to me, right? After that first pick, and we did a snake to make it fair. And so I came back and I took Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott. And so, Lance, you couldn't tell me nothing about my squad. I got Jonathan Taylor, the best back in the league. It's a 2-quarterback league, so I had to get 2 QBs, and they were starting to get a little bit thin at that point. All right, Russell Wilson, he's going to explode with Denver this year. He's going to be in shape. He's going to do all the stuff that we're not seeing on the football field this year. And Dak Prescott, I know that they lost weapons, but he's still going to be really, really solid, right? He's 27 years old, and poof. And so now I'm going Jimmy Garoppolo and freaking Jacoby Brissett, right? So I'm 2-4. I'm still alive, but it's been a slog because of that quarterback position and Jonathan Taylor missing all these games. Tell us the story about your team and Matt Deutsch's IDP Dynasty League.
Yeah, got off to a real bad start, an 0-3 start. And, if it wasn't for being a vet and doing this long enough, then I certainly would have been pulling out my hair and really upset. I'm a fierce competitor. But thankfully, able to pull things together, and last week level up at 3-3. Was able to knock off a couple teams who were sitting at the top of the charts, and so I love the league. And shout out Matt, definitely appreciate the opportunity on the show and in the league. But yeah, certainly it's a real competitive league, which would be expected. It's the same thing, you see across the board. There's certainly a couple guys who are sitting up there. I believe somebody is undefeated. I believe somebody else might be like 5-1. But no, for my team, we've been hit hard by injuries. That's something that you simply can't avoid. When you go through my running back situation, which Rick, I took the approach that knowing the running back position is the position that can be the most difficult to navigate through because of injuries. And so I went really heavy. And you looked at what was going on with my running back situation last week. Cam Akers of the Los Angeles Rams, he's pretty much done. Fantasy owners can, hope that he goes to a team to where he can be in position to have major playing time. Might be a little tough because of the situation, kind of getting on the outs with the coach being the reason that he's leaving. But Cam Akers of the Los Angeles Rams, pretty much a wash for him. Maybe had one decent game this year for whatever reason, not involved in the Rams rushing attack. And it was something that he didn't like. And so he's done. Devin Singletary of the Buffalo Bills, had big expectations for him. Buffalo's a team which I certainly cannot blame, but it's the Josh Allen show. And so, perhaps in the wintertime, they'll look to get Singletary look more involved in the running game. But right now, he's been real iffy. PPR has kind of really helped his situation out, catching some short passes out of the backfield. James Conner, we mentioned his name before. It's been an absolute bust this year. I mean, there's no other way around it. No games with over 100 all-purpose yards, only one TD on the season. So he's been a waste. Rashad Penny of the Seattle Seahawks, gone for the season. Another one of those.
Just Lance, time out. This is your backfield?
Yeah, this
backfield's amazing. I mean, I know you got all these sad tales to tell, but my God, I'd be looking at your team like, bruh, this guy's deep. Like I go Taylor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Zeke Elliott. Like that's my top 3 running backs, right? I'm okay with it, but damn, you got some names. Continue on. I'm impressed with the running back room that you built, man. I am.
Yeah, I mean, on draft day, it certainly looked splendid, and that was the game plan. So, obviously the A is there for planning, the execution certainly not taking place. But no, James Conner's been a huge bust and disappointment. Mentioned Rashad Penny of the Seattle Seahawks. Had big hopes for him. He was a guy that, was leading that Seattle backfield on a really potent offense, had just got the wheels turning with that big 162-yard game against the Detroit Lions. He's gone for the season. And so, my backfield, is just a mess right now. Damian Harris of the New England Patriots, another guy back there.
Another guy I like. These are all guys I like, too.
Yeah. So, but luckily, like I said, things, I've been able to hold things together. Everybody's strategy was different. That's something that I really enjoy seeing, how everybody, went about things differently. Because like you said, this is a dynasty league. So everybody has the long run in mind. For my strategy, I pretty much tried to mix both. I tried to build a team that was going to be competitive now and a team that will be able to sustain and also be competitive. So I was looking to be competitive throughout the whole way. My weakness, if I have one, I would definitely say would be the quarterback position. I went with the old head, Tom Brady. Figured I could find somebody. It's some big names coming out in these drafts at the quarterback position. So, I've got my eyes on the future.
I totally get it, man. Lance, I enjoyed the heck out of this. So I definitely want to do it again. I wish you luck in all your games, and unless you're playing me, of course. But in all the other games, go kick ass and take names. And all your bets, hopefully they come up winners, man. But Lance, really enjoyed this. We'll definitely talk again soon. And have a great weekend, man.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Rick. I appreciate the opportunity. Have a great weekend. I look forward to doing it again soon as well.
Yes, sir. You the man. Lance Goodman right there. People joining Rick Kamla on Bettor Sports Live here on Bettor Sports Network. And again, give him a follow on Twitter at NFL Exporter, EXPORTER. Let's catch a break, and I'll come back and spin you around sports here with Major League Baseball playoffs going on, the Padres and the Phillies. We've got an event happening there. I will get you abreast of what's happening with that. Also, we'll spin around the NBA a little bit. We got some games coming down to the wire here. I've got prop bets out there. Hopefully you got prop bets out there too. So we'll update it all when we come back. It's Rick Kamla on Bettor Sports Live.
Excellent.
Better Sports Live on Better Sports Network.
Collectible moments.
Everybody up here at U.S. Cellular. Sox 5 runs, 6 hits. The 2-1 to Bartlett. Swing shot to short. Ramirez has it, throws. Bartley picks a perfect game. His second no-hitter. People going crazy here at U.S. Cellular. He's mobbed by his teammates. A perfecto.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right out, 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the imposing pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up and in. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left.
Out of the I formation on first down. Peterson to carry, looking for running room on the right side, has it to the 25, across the 30, across the 35, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Adrian Peterson has just gone over 2,000 yards for the season, the 7th man in NFL history to cross the 2,000-yard mark.
Well, a thundering ovation for number 66, Mario Lemieux.
Just the emotion I'm sure Mario is feeling in this place. You don't appreciate something until it's gone, and it's so great to have Mario back.
Yager turns around. Over to Lemieux.
Mario Lemieux, his first goal in his comeback here tonight at the Mellon Arena. And the Penguins lead 3-0, and he is smiling like a butcher's dog. Mario Lemieux. Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. The Bears have scored, but the Bands are out on the field.
Pearson moves in front of the STP Dodge. Petty comes back to the inside. They almost touch as they move down low in the bank, and you're going to be side by side as they exit the bank and head for the finish line.
Richard Petty goes back in front. They both spin. They're in the wall. Petty is slamming into the wall. He's coming down toward the finish line. Will he make it? Pearson is still running. The winner is car number 21. An amazing finish. Richard Petty's car demolished the front end, as well as car number 21. An unbelievable finish, a terrible crash. David Pearson has won the Daytona 500. Leitner catches, comes down, dribbles, shoots, scores! Christian Leitner has hit the bucket at the buzzer! Pitched by Downey, swinging, there's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7-15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
The most valuable player is Magic Johnson. 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. He starts at center, plays forward and guard, and leads the Los Angeles Lakers to a world championship 123-107 over Philadelphia.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Better Sports Network. Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla on Better Sports Network.
I think it's fun. I think it's funny the way Big Voice Guy says my name. Rick Kamla. I like it. I like it a lot. That's me, and you are you, and we're having fun on a Friday night together here on Better Sports Network. Good to see you all out here. Lance getting some love there from the people in our comment area, chatting and hanging out here on a Friday night. So in the Major League Baseball playoffs, the plot has thickened in Philadelphia. The San Diego Padres have an RBI hit here by Jake Cronenworth, scoring Juan Soto. And we are tied, folks, 1-1 heading to the bottom of the 4th inning. And so now we got a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel. And so yet another reminder why, I don't mess with the totals here, because I was kind of thinking with the Philly bats and the San Diego bats have been rolling, like we may be going up here. So far, no good. And again, we didn't even talk about that, but I was kind of thinking in my brain, we're going to get some runs tonight, right? It hasn't worked out yet. It's a very hitter-friendly ballpark there in Philadelphia, but it hasn't worked out that way, at least not yet. We got a ways to go. Suarez, I had a vibe on him and a hunch on him. He has validated that. Giving up the run that he just did, okay, but he's through 4 innings, giving up only 1 run, 2 hits, 3 Ks. And so he now is, with 58 pitches and pitching well, going to stay in this game probably for another inning or 2. Joe Musgrove, who is almost out of the bottom of the 4th inning here, 3 2/3. It's been dirty. He's given up 7 base runners, 5 hits, and 2 walks, but only 1 run allowed by Musgrove to this point. There are runners on 2nd and 3rd. for the Philadelphia Phillies right now. So let me head over there. I've got Pelicans and Hornets up right now. So let's check this out, see how this jam unfolds here. My timing is pretty good. We got John Segura with an 0-2 count here, bottom of the fourth inning, and the crowd is stirring in Philadelphia. Let's talk about this delivery here from Joe Musgrove. The tank kicks and fires in the dirt, and it's a take there by John Segura. So it is 1-1. You got to love thrilling Major League Baseball playoff action. It's going on. I'll keep my eye on this. Paolo Banchero, this kid, this guy, this young man, this guy. We gave you the prop on Paolo Banchero. He is up to 14 points. Oh, my God, this stat line, this guy, I'm telling you. I know you think I was crazy earlier when I was saying he's LeBron-y, he's Zion-y, he's Duncan-y, he's Iverson-y. He is a generational number one overall pick, folks. Not like Anthony Bennett and Michael Olowokandi and Andrea Bargnani. I know you love those names. Musgrove tried to fit a heater past Segura into the glove of his catcher, and Segura said, "Not tonight," and fouled it off. But Banchero, 14 points. Anthony off the bench. Cole Anthony is back with 19 points. It's a good look right there. But we're looking good for the over now on Paolo Banchero at 16.5. There's 3:12 to go in the third quarter. And so I don't have that game up right now. I presume he's out of the game late third or early fourth. He'll come back for a long stint in the fourth quarter in a tight game. It is Hawks 74, Magic 73. I'm actually DVRing this game. I'm going to be watching this one later because, the Paolo Banchero, I got to watch him play. And I want to actually not toggle around. And I want to I got 4 TVs on the wall. Oh, we got a base hit by John Segura. And 2 runs are going to score. And this is why you don't bet against Philly at Philly with the bats. And the crowd is going absolutely crazy. Let me just turn this on here real quick. I love hearing that of the crowd, right? We just heard it with the great montage of some of the best live calls in sports history there. Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, he lays it in. What a play by Bird. Yeah, I got Johnny Most. I do. I got Johnny Most. And I didn't even wrench my throat right there. It worked out pretty well for me. John Segura. Oh, and a bat flip, and a bat spike, I mean, he went boosh and threw the bat down. Reese Hoskins, but not quite as emphatic because Hoskins hit a homer and Segura, it was only a base hit, but that was I love Philly's got that vibe, man. I've been telling you since the St. Louis series. Since the St. Louis series, when I saw John Segura have the biggest hit of that series, they're down 2-1 in the ninth inning or whatever it was. Base runners on and low outside pitch, perfect pitch, like a pitcher's pitch. And he went down and just through the greatness of his, and he just got picked off at first base as I sing his praises here. So they're out of the inning. It is 3-1 Phillies. But that was a big hit right there by John Segura. And we're trying to stay on the good side here in terms of the baseball betting. Your boy has been sizzling. And I don't brag, obviously. I keep track of this stuff because I like to. I don't know. It's I'm not just making picks here and throwing up against the wall. I take this stuff seriously, even though I can't put money on it. Anyway, I'm at 66% right now betting MLB base money lines in 33 total bets. I'm 22-11, looking to increase those numbers here tonight. NBA props coming into tonight, 61%, and NFL props, I'm at 55%. Sizzling start, and I have settled in here. It is what it is. Trying my best, but we are on the plus side with the props and with Major League Baseball money lines. So proud about that. We'll definitely try to keep it up. So we're looking good on Banchero here. Let me check in on some of the other basketball props that we had tonight and gave to you, and maybe you guys played these out here. So let's go to the Chicago box score right here. We had Ayo Dosunmu over 12.5, and we also had Nikola Vucevic over 18.5. Let's see if we're unpacking winners here. We're already in the winner's circle with Nikola Vucevic. He's at 21 points. Ring it up, folks. We can cash that check right now, or cash that betting slip right now. Dosunmu has a chance, but I don't like his chance. Yes, ring it up, cha-ching. It looks like we're going to miss here on Dosunmu. Ayo, you're letting me down, man. You go to Miami.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
Yeah, you go to Miami, you drop 17, and now you're at Washington and you're having a dud of a game. Come on, man. Stop pump faking me like this. This will cause me to get off of you for the next game. I'm telling you, it will. It's my guy, Andre Drummond, man. This guy plays no minutes, always puts up stats. He's got 10 and 9 with a block in 18 minutes. I love Andre Drummond. Good guy, too. But Dasumu looks like we're going to take an L there. Looks like we're going to take a win here with Paulo with a little bit to go at his number at 16.5. Let's check on our guy Halliburton. This game is not going as I thought it would. San Antonio is in Indiana pummeling the Pacers right now. I shouldn't say pummeling. It was. Indiana's making a run here. They're down 11. 116-105. San An is winning at Indiana, which is weird. And Halliburton is not hitting the number for us here, but he's got 5 minutes left. We need him to get to 17.5. He's at 12 right now. So I feel good about him hitting this number. In Indiana, they're not going to like empty the bench because, you know, they're within 11 here. So they'll leave their starters out there. We're still, it's a question mark here for Halliburton. And then let's check on Jaden Ivey. I'm a little bit nervous about this one. It's the game at the Knicks. The Knicks are destroying the Pistons right now. So I'm a little nervous about this one. Jaden Ivey, come on, big money. And we're winners, folks. Yes, ring it up, ring it up, ring it. Hit it again. Hit it again one time for the people. Yes, that's what I'm talking about right there. I am the smartest man alive. Music to my ears. So we're already in the house here with Vooch and Ivy. I believe we're about to be in the house here with Paulo.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, we're in kind of a coin flip zone here with Halliburton, and we lost with Io. So we're trending well here again with the NBA props for you. And look, Detroit's not totally out of this game. It's late third, 87-67 Knicks, so a 20-point game, but it is 5 minutes to go in the third. So the Pistons do have a chance to come back and make that a ball game, but right now it does not look good for the Detroit side. Obviously, we're on the plus side of this Phillies matchup, although issues here. Trent Grisham, you should have looked up. You could have taken third. There was a ball that got away from the first baseman. So here, no outs, and Trent Grisham at second base for the San Diego Padres. I'm going to dip out of this game for a minute here. I want to go back to some basketball, check in on the Pellies and the Hornets and see what's going on here. 114-105, the Pels lead over the Charlotte Hornets right now. Very predictable there. All right, let me go into some of the prop bets for last night. Let's get into a slight unpacking here of Thursday Night Football, and I do want to get to some NBA win totals here for you. I went back. I had this conversation planned for you maybe a week or so ago, and stuff's come up, and I haven't gotten to it. But what's cool about it now is that I was able to have the win totals of about a week ago preseason, and then the win totals now. And there has been some movement. So we'll be able to evaluate some win total movement in the NBA very early in the season. Don't worry, you can still play these bets any old time you want. The full slate is up on DraftKings and all the betting sites. So that's not, you got to get it out preseason and then that's it. You can play these win totals. They fluctuate and undulate throughout the year. I'm so done with Kyler Murray. I know he won last night. I'm so done with him, man. Say hello to my little friend. Do you like his body language? Kyler Murray's always complaining, always ranting, always raving. Something's always wrong. He was getting pissed at Cliff Kingsbury last night, yelling at the referee. I'm okay with that. But there was a play, there was a bad snap, right? And he kind of like does with the arm, like, look at this freaking horrible center right here. You don't get to do this. You don't. You think you do, but you don't. These are bad optics, bad body language. There is so much that goes along with being an NFL quarterback when you're the face of a franchise, beyond throwing touchdowns and winning games. It's how you conduct yourself. And the eye test matters. The optics matter. The body language matters. And he's always sulking. Here's what I don't like about Kyler Murray, too. Every touchdown he throws, he just goes right to the sideline. Bro, you just completed a pass for a touchdown in the National Football League. It is 365 days in a calendar year here on planet Earth, and you are probably going to throw 20 to 25 touchdowns this year. That means that you will experience that joy for 20 to 25 times in an entire calendar year. Enjoy yourself. Have fun. Let loose a little bit. Get involved in a touchdown celebration if you want. I just don't like that. Throws a touchdown, a big touchdown, and just goes right to the sideline and starts looking at the little iPad there. And I don't like it. I also don't like Sean McVay running into the end zone and partying with his players after they score a touchdown. Act like a damn coach, please. You're not a cheerleader out here. I had to get that off my chest, Charles Barkley style. You know how they go to TNT and Charles is sitting there and he's on one, right? He's pissed about something, and Ernie will go to him. He's like, Charles, what's on your mind? And Charles is like, man, I got a beef with such and such and such and such. Like, I had to get that off my chest about Kyler Murray.
You make me sick.
Young fella, have fun, man. Have fun. You just got paid. You're kicking the New Orleans Saints' ass. Have fun, man. It's just so dour and so down, and you can tell that he's a hard guy to work with, right? Can you imagine him in the quarterback room telling everybody what to do? And he just seems like that guy. He seems like his head's exploded and he's all full of himself. He does. I don't like it. I wish I wasn't saying these things right now. And, oh, by the way, Kyler Murray let me down with my prop bets last night. I was 3-2 in the National Football League on Thursday Night Football, 2-3 on the NBA side last night. So, a big old push for the night, but 3-2 on the NFL, and that's progress because we've been taking some L's here lately. But we had the under on Kyler Murray at 1.5 touchdown passes. We had the over on 1.5 touchdown passes. He had one. We had the over on 245 yards, and he didn't come close to 204. Thanks, Kyler. Thanks. A lot of running by Arizona last night, but I was on the plus side, as I said, thanks to Nuke Hopkins. Hello, Nuke Hopkins. And I did give you Arizona last night. I liked that some late money came in, taking it from 2 to 2.5. And I thought that Nuke Hopkins would really give them a lift. And so we got that one home. But Nuke Hopkins at 62.5. He caught 10 for 103. It was in doubt early in the first quarter, but then once he sort of got his sea legs under him, I think he had 37 yards at the half. It's like, okay, we're getting here. And he obviously was very busy in the second half and went well over this number. So that was a win for us. We had Chris Olave. Remember, we went with his yards and his receptions and clicked on them both. So Olave was at 63.5, and we went over on that. He hit 106, and then we went over on his receptions at 4.5. We went over that. He had 7 catches, so we were 3-2 on the night in prop betting for Thursday Night Football. And so let's go through some of my evaluations of this game, right? And some of the box score evaluation of this game. First of all, I'm just going to go stream of consciousness on you here. Why did Andy Dalton play in the second half in this football game? Does that make any sense to anybody? Andy Dalton had 3 interceptions in the first half. 2, pardon me, I didn't mean to do that. My finger got held up here. I kind of inadvertently flipped you all the bird. I definitely did not mean to do that. I meant to put up the 2 fingers here. He had 2 pick sixes back to back at the end of the first half. 2-minute drive. Here we go. We're going to get some goodies from our Saints, 2-minute draw. I love the 2-minute draw, right? End of half, end of game. You're going to get some goodies from your guys, right? With the passing offense, and they're going to go fast, and you're going to get some check downs to your running back and that kind of thing. I love those zones of games. But Andy Dalton in that zone went pick 6 off a tip pass. It was not his fault. It wasn't a perfectly thrown ball. It was a little bit on the behind shoulder of the receiver, Marquez Callaway. It's a ball that's got to be caught. It got up in on him a little, maybe thrown faster than he thought, pops up in the air. Marco Wilson catches it, runs it to the end zone, and did an amazing front flip into the end zone where I was like, bruh, you need to stop doing that immediately. If I were his agent, I'd be like, that's the last time you're doing that, son. No. We're making money together here. I can't have you doing that. You are jeopardizing the franchise and the corporation right here, known as you. Anyway, his first interception in the game was a bad read into the end zone. It was all cluttered into the end zone. He threw it anyway. It was intercepted. And then he followed. So I kind of mixing the order up here, but that was the first pick. So that one was on Dalton. The second pick was not on Dalton. And the third pick was definitely on Dalton. It was a terrible throw. One of those Andy Dalton throws, typical, where you're like, where the hell are you throwing the ball, dude? What did you see on that play? pick six to the house. That time it was Isaiah Simmons. How does Andy Dalton start the second half after that? You still had a chance to win the game. You're down 2 touchdowns at halftime, 28-14. I mean, obviously, the odds are very much stacked against you, but we've seen a comeback like that before. Jameis I'm not trying to like paint a bad personality look for Jameis, but he looked just uncomfortable on the sidelines. Like, really, dude? Like, really? And he held himself well. There weren't the bad optics that I'm talking about here with Kyler Murray, but I was like feeling for Jameis, right? Oh, look at Alvin Kamara, right? We talked about his number was 61.5, and I said, there's a lot of over trends on this. There were, the way he's played recently, but the Arizona run defense scared me. And it ended up being a game script thing, and I didn't really think that he would be hurt by game script. I didn't. I saw it 24-21, barely over. We did go over here, 42-34, but it was different, right? You had the pick sixes. Arizona got in front. Andy Dalton threw 47 passes last night, okay? So the running game went boop, and it dried up because they had to play catch-up mode. But Alvin Kamara, I wasn't on the bet, but I thought about it, and I was like 61.5. Dang, that's really reachable for Alvin Kamara. But I'm like, nah, I don't like it. And so I'm glad I didn't go over because I was thinking about going over on that one. We told you about Olave. Olave he's such a badass, man. He is so fast and such a great route runner. And so sometimes like it's opportunity, and you've got no Thomas, you've got no Landry. But sometimes as well, folks, it's just a guy being really, really damn talented. And so I made that point last night, and we saw it last night. He did have a couple of drops when he just got blasted, right? And so he's going to have to get a little bit more ball strong with that contact. There was a sideline joint that he made the catch. Boom, Jalen Thompson came over and popped him, and the ball came out. There was another play with my vision down the middle of the field. He got popped, the ball came out. But the young kid's a stud. He really is. Kevin White in the end zone, I don't care. Rashid Shaheed in the end zone for the second week, but I don't care, right? Because he had one target in the game. He had one. I know you scored in back-to-back weeks, but that is not moving my needle. No, it's not. Juwan Johnson scored 2 touchdowns in this game. Obviously, this is a collapsible scenario based on the availability of Michael Thomas and also Jarvis Landry, because if those guys are healthy, Juwan Johnson goes back to doing nothing, which is what he was doing when those guys were healthy. But I'm not. Look, I got teased by him last year off the waiver wire. I think he scored an early touchdown. We picked him up, all this kind of stuff. He's a good player. He's a wide receiver in college, converted to tight end. I do like that because you're bringing those ball catching skills to the tight end position. But I need to see more. If you're in a super deep league, maybe a 2 tight end league, yeah, he's a guy you need to look at. But in a regular redraft league, I need to see more from Juwan Johnson. Eno Benjamin is becoming a thing, y'all. 7.7 yards per carry, had a 45-yard run, and he's starting to get his confidence because I talked about he was an absolute rock star at Arizona State. Just for bleeps and giggles, I want to tell you Eno Benjamin's college stats. He had his last year at Arizona State. He went ballistic. No, it was the year before. It was not his last year. It was the year before. 2018 at Arizona State, 1,642 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5.5 average per carry, 300 carries. You want to talk about a bell cow? This is 13 games, and he had 300 carries. He also had 35 grabs for 263 yards and 2 touchdowns. My man had 18 touchdowns in 13 games and almost had 2,000 total yards. And he had 35 grabs that year. He had 42 grabs the next year. And by the way, he was good his junior year on his way to an early entry into the NFL, but it wasn't like that one where almost $2,000 and 18 touchdowns. Eno Benjamin can go, okay? This is not surprising to me, not in any way, shape, or form. I'm of a mind like, why and how did it take you so long, right? You need doors open. You need opportunities. We talked about he didn't do well with a brief opportunity last year, but he is now there, had a productive game last week, caught 4 balls for 21 yards, in addition to the 12, 92, and a touchdown. He did get vultured by Keontae Ingram, who tried to vulture him again later on in the game, but they called it back. Last week, Eno Benjamin, 15 carries, 37 yards. We don't like the yards, but we like the carries. and he also had 3 grabs for 28 yards. So he's coming. Eno's coming. And I don't know, this James Conner thing, it's like a rib injury. This may keep him out a while. We are through 5 innings, by the way. It is 3-2 Phillies over Padres. The Padres also got a run here from Kim. He got an RBI, and scoring on the play was Grisham. Like we talked about, the ball got away, and Grisham went to second, and so he ended up coming around, and that ended up being an unearned run on Ranger Suarez. That's a great baseball name, by the way, isn't it? Ranger Suarez, right? You get the old baseball play-by-play. Ranger Suarez and Joe Musgrove. That's a good combo right there. But yeah, I have cheesy baseball play-by-play guy too. I have that imitation as well. But Suarez, 2 hits in 5 innings, no walks. He's given up 2 base runners in 5 innings, but he's given up 2 runs, one of them unearned. So that's unlucky. He should be up more than 3-2 right now. Musgrove has been dirty. I mean, 8 base runners in 5 innings. He's given up 3 earned runs, 5 Ks, but he's keeping his team in the game. He's on his way to a quality start, but that's what's up with the Phillies and the Padres through 5 innings there in Philadelphia. So, and obviously, Eno is not on waivers, but just giving you analysis here of Thursday Night Football. And Nuke Hopkins, 10 catches, 103 yards, targeted 14 times. If you didn't see this coming, I mean, like you haven't been paying attention. To me, there are some stats that matter, and there are some stats that don't. And the stat that matters for Arizona and Kyler Murray and Nuke Hopkins, and to a degree the entire team, is how they started last season with a healthy Nuke Hopkins. They were 7-0, the talk of the NFL. Kyler Murray was at the top of the MVP list. He had 17 touchdowns in those first 7 games. He at plus rushing stuff, right? That was passing touchdowns. Nuke Hopkins was getting busy, scoring a lot of touchdowns. And then he got hurt, and it changed everything. So let's not evaluate Arizona based on full body of work. It's about pre-Nuke injury, post-Nuke injury. And this year, first 6 games without Nuke Hopkins, and the rest of the games with Nuke Hopkins. He is that important of a player. He is one of the best offensive players in the entire league. I would say right now that he is a top 30 skill player in the NFL right now, maybe top 25, maybe even higher than that. But he is an elite player. And I love him. I always have. He's a target guy. He's a catch guy. I don't care that he had a bagel in the touchdown column. I don't care. 10 catches for 103 yards. Those are the guys that I do business with. You can go get Deshaun Jackson or a guy like him, one of these home run hitters, right? Knock yourself out. Have fun chasing a home run hitter and when he's actually going to hit that home run. I want guys that are getting targets and catches every single week. Okay. And there are ripple effects of Nuke Hopkins coming back. I'm not going to tell you. Well, let me make some Zach Ertz advice for you here. If you have Zach Ertz in a 10-team league, it's time to flush him. If you have Zach Ertz in a 12-team league, okay, and you see somebody out there that you like, you can go ahead and flush him. Let me look at my waiver wire list here. What tight ends do I have on here? Hunter Henry. If Hunter Henry is out there on waivers, I would pick him up and I would drop Zach Ertz. Robert Tonyan of Green Bay. I would rather have him than Zach Ertz right now. He caught 10 for 90 and 12 targets last week. I would not rather have Jelani Woods of Indianapolis than Zach Ertz. I would not. Greg Dulcich of Denver. I would rather have Greg Dulcich of Denver with the Albert O trade rumors, and he was a healthy scratch, and the whole Albert O thing isn't working out in Denver. And so Dulcich is now the guy, scored a long touchdown last week. I would rather have him right now than Zach Ertz. And Daniel Bellinger is one more guy I would rather have than Zach Ertz right now. I can't believe I'm saying that I would rather have Daniel Bellinger than Zach Ertz. Look, Zach Ertz is going to have some games. He is going forward, even with Nuke Hopkins. But you ask yourself, man, Zach Ertz had good numbers last year and finished the season really well. You know why? Because he did not have to share with Nuke Hopkins. Man, the first 6 games, Zach Ertz was a really viable fantasy tight end. Definitely a starting, a tight end 1 in a 12-team fantasy outfit. Again, no Nuke Hopkins. Nuke Hopkins coming back is terrible news for Zach Ertz. It is terrible news for Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore had been getting kind of busy. 2 targets, 1 catch, 31 yards. And that catch came right at the beginning of the game. And then nothing. Okay. Zach Ertz, 4 targets, 2 catches, 21 yards. You can flush Rondale Moore right now. You can go ahead and flush him off your roster. And Greg Dortch scored a touchdown, right? So even if you thought about Rondale Moore, well, I mean, he's, maybe the number 2, like he can get big, and he's a slot receiver and all this kind of stuff. The other slot receiver scored the touchdown on 1 target. So that's another buzzkill for Rondale Moore. But Nuke Hopkins coming back is really good news in a lot of ways. It's eventually going to be really good news for Kyler Murray, but they ran the ball so well, 137, 2 tilts last night, that Kyler Murray didn't have to throw that much. And you had the 2 pick sixes, right? Instead of short fields where now we're getting yards, we're getting touchdowns. I mean, those went to the defense last night. So Murray at 204-1, those numbers are going to go way up moving forward here with Nuke Hopkins in there. This is really, really good news for those of you who manage Kyler Murray. So when we come back, once again, I'll keep you updated here on the Phillies and the Padres. We'll kind of spin around basketball a little bit as we take our last break. And I want to come back and talk some. Have I given you my prop bet yet? I haven't even given you my prop bets yet. Ricky Props will be in here. Prop bets on Week 7 in the NFL. I'm also going to talk win totals in the National Basketball Association. I've got some big takes for you on that. Sit tight. You're in a good spot. Do not go anywhere. I'm Rick Kamla. We are Bettor Sports Live.
Show me the money!
Bettor Sports Live on Bettor Sports Network.
Cards. I got 2 things I want to bring up, and I got them ready for the show today.
Sure.
First of all, I don't know if you ever played this Topps Home Run Challenge game.
No,
like
I
a genius. So I'm in love with Annalise Garcia. So basically, what you do is you scratch off the back, right?
Yeah.
And it gives you a code, and you go and you punch it in, and then you have to pick the game that he's going to hit a home run in, right?
Oh, okay, I've never heard of that before.
And then if you do that, you get like a special limited edition card, and it's limited to how many people actually picked he would hit a home run that month.
Cool.
And then you could double down. If he goes over 425 feet, you get like an extra special card.
Yeah.
So I went on eBay, like, because I like Annalise Garcia, like, because all the rest are like big names. I got 6 of them, and I totally forgot to punch them in. So I got the plan. I think they're coming up Colorado soon or something.
There he goes right there.
I have a month left to punch in 6 Annalise Garcia home run cards.
There you go. Congratulations.
We can do that live on the show if you'd like.
Sure.
Here's a second one.
Okay.
And I think you're gonna like this. I was at Target, and they had Garbage Pail Kids. And
that's pretty cool.
It was Garbage Pail Kids Bookworms, it's called, and it like makes fun of like book stuff. This is one of the greatest cards I've ever got in my life, and I'm trying to probably buy more. You see
Nice,
that
I like
there?
that. That's pretty dope right there.
It's
That's
Winnie
pretty dope.
It's Winnie the Pooper.
Yeah,
and he's
I like
he's
that.
pooping on. Look at that.
I like that. That's dope right there. That's clever, Nando. You know,
This is the best card I've ever seen in my life. It's worth
when I was going to
$1.50.
elementary school, right, in the Washington Heights area in New York City, you used to walk down Broadway, and on Broadway and 150th Street, it was a dude. You would go in there, and he used to hand out, sell, like, you know what I'm saying? He used to sell the Garbage Pail Kids in the morning before we go to school. So
Nice.
everybody was in that store buying Garbage Pail Kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool right there. Yeah, just get that. So I'm up to deal with the Garbage Pail Kids. I think that's pretty cool.
It's Winnie the Pooper.
Yeah. I mean, you see the little poop emojis right there too. That's a
It's-
cool card, Nando. Yeah.
Right? You can get it for
Uh-huh.
like $2.
I like that.
I don't know why. This is my favorite thing in the world right now. I don't even know what to do with it. Like, I want to hang it up on my wall or something. Like, it's just so. Who comes up with Winnie the Pooh pooping on? Winnie the Pooper.
I like that.
I gotta find something. They even have the balloons the same color as like the actual Winnie the Pooh cartoons.
I like it, Nando. That's sweet.
Anyway,
That's
sorry.
clever.
I just wanted to share that with you. I'll never
Thank
grow
you.
up. That's that'll be old man Corey. Wait a minute. Hey, turn your bass down. I'm going through my Winnie the Pooper
Turn
collection.
that NBA young boy down. I'm trying to do a show over here. What's going on? No respect. All that boogity all loud.
Bettor Sports Network. It's sports talk. Sports talk done better.
We are back on Bettor Sports Live. It is Rick Kamla. And I look up here, The Indiana Pacers have made it a game and then some. It is 135 to 134. A high scoring, very, very fun. This is like an old school ABA game with the red, white, and blue ball. So certainly with 137 on the board for San Antonio, 134 on the board for Indiana, we got the over with Tyrese Halliburton, right? Oh my God. Literally, oh my God. Tyrese Halliburton has 27 points. He has erupted. I don't have the exact numbers for you, but the last we checked, remember we were saying, I don't know, we're in kind of no man's land here. He was like 5 away from the over, and now he has obliterated the number. I mean, he literally has gone on an epic heater right here, an epic heater, like 15 straight points, something like that. Again, I don't know those numbers because I'm a lot going on here, and I'm not like dialed into the broadcast and listening to it. I'm keeping an eye on it up here. They're in a timeout. 3.8 seconds left. It looks like Indiana's got the rock, so they may be able to tie this game. But Tyrese Halliburton with 27 points. Winner! His number was 17.5. Folks, remember Tyrese Halliburton over the weekend. I'm not going to be with you shepherding you through these decisions, okay? I mean, you're big boys and big girls out there. You can do this by yourself. You're a badass. That's why you're listening to Bettor Sports Network right now. My point is this. Vegas has not adjusted Tyrese Halliburton. He had 26 or 27 in the first game. Number way too low. Bang, that hit it. 17.5 tonight. He's at 27 and counting tonight. They are not setting his line appropriately right now out in Las Vegas. So that's a winner. Paulo Banchero, he is right there, folks. Let's see if we've gotten the requisite bucket right here. He's at 16.5. We need 17, obviously. He's
Thank
right.
you, sir. May I have another?
He's right at 16. So we've got 4:42 to go. I like our chances. Jaden Ivey's already in. Vooch is already in. And let me check one more time here. Chicago and Washington is a final. I think we're going to take an L on Io tonight, and we are. Io Dosunmu, 7 points. Bro, you let me down, but it's okay. I'm not mad at you. So we took an L there, but it looks like we might have a 4-1 night here in the NBA prop zone. And again, like this one is a particular sweet spot for me. And obviously I know what's up in the NFL, but the NBA has been my predominant job since 2003, NBA TV, and then the last few years over at NBA Radio. And it's a huge part of my identity. It's a huge part of my affinity for sports is the NBA. So this is really wheelhouse for me, especially when we merge fantasy and betting in terms of the prop zone and knowing the trends of these players, knowing just a lot of stuff that gives me and now you an advantage over the book when it comes to betting props on the NBA. And so we're off to a good start, man. Looks like we're going to have a 4-1 night. Now we got off to a great start with the NFL in prop betting, and we're going to try to keep that going as well. So the Pacers just lost. Let me back up here and see. We got the win with Halliburton here, but I want to see what happened on this final play. All right, so they're inbounding from the side, and it's a Halliburton getting the ball into Ben Mathurin. He put up a contested shot, and it's not even close. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Why? Okay, so we're tanking, right? We're tanking. So now the coach is tanking too. The great Rick Carlisle, Hall of Fame coach, my boy. I'm friendly with Rick Carlisle, love him to death. He likes the Grateful Dead, and I like the Grateful Dead. We've had a lot of conversations about that. Rick Carlisle's my boy. But Rick Carlisle, what in the hell are we doing here? Are we tanking? Are we that obviously tanking? Tyrese Halliburton has been cooking. I don't know, folks, 17 in the fourth quarter, something crazy like that. Big quarter to get them back within striking range here. And you're down 3.8 seconds left, and you run an out-of-bounds play where you get it into Ben Mathurin, who's a stud, love him. But when Halliburton's cooking, it's because with 3.8 seconds left, you can get it in, but you might not get it back. If there's 7 or 8 seconds left, cool. Have Halliburton inbound the ball, get it to a dude. They get it right back to Halliburton. Now he's coming downhill or something, and he's freeing himself up for the three-point shot. That's a disgusting call right there by the coach. I absolutely hate it. Unless, of course, you want to tank for Victor Wembanyama, and then it makes a whole lot of sense, right? Why are we trying to win this game? In a team, by the way, that they're going to be competing against for ping pong balls for Victor Wembanyama is the San Antonio Spurs. Okay, these are going to be two of the worst teams in the league this year. And so I feel like Indiana just gave San Antonio a win. Like we thrilled our crowd. We got the over on the prop for Ricky Props over there at Better Sports Network. Let's go ahead and call up a shitty play right here so we lose this game. I'm sorry. That's my view on it. All right, Ricky Props in here giving you some NFL props. And we've got Trevor Lawrence. We are going under Trevor Lawrence. And this is out of respect to the New York Giants defense. Much respect. Their defense is no joke. They're 8th in passing yards allowed at 194. So we've got a big sample size now, right? We've got 6 weeks of NFL football. And so this is not, we'll wait for the other shoe to drop and a regression to the mean. No, they're good. They're good. And we need to recognize that. They're 8th in passing yards allowed at 194. Trevor Lawrence in his last 3 games has gone 174, 286, 165. He's been all over this number, but he's been under it 2 of the last 3 games. The Giants have allowed 1 quarterback to hit this number this year. It was Ryan Tannehill in week 1. He hit him for 266. 5 straight games, the Giants have held the opposing quarterback under this number right here of 229.5. I don't like going unders, but there's a ton of under indicators for me here on Trevor Lawrence. And so I'm going under on TL here at 229.5. Jared Goff at 248.5. I'm also going under. This is not typically what we do, but the number moves me in either way. And when I saw Goff at 248.5, I was immediately like, I don't know about that. Why don't I know about that? Because he's at Dallas in the Dak return game. There is going to be passion, intensity, motivation, the whole thing. Dallas is coming off a loss. They're coming off a loss where they didn't play all that well. So there's the bounce back angle for us here. Detroit's coming off a bye, okay? And Detroit, I don't know if you're overrating them. I feel like I'm overrating them a little bit based on the fantasy goodies that they give us, but they're really actually kind of a trash team. They're 1-4. They haven't won on the road yet. They have the worst defense in the NFL. The worst defense in the NFL. At Dallas? No. So I do like the Cowboys here, -6.5, 7, however you can get it. But Dallas, let's talk Goff here. Dallas is 4th against the pass, giving up 183 passing yards per game. 4th. They're elite. Goff is a matchup quarterback. Okay? It's not about home and road with him. It's about the matchup. In 3 good matchups this year, 256, 277, 378. Over the number all 3 times. In bad matchups this year, against Philadelphia, 215 yards. And that was a win, by the way. No, it wasn't. They lost by 3 points, 38-35. Anyway, 215 against Philadelphia and 229 last week against, 2 weeks ago against New England. 215, 229. Well below this number. But I can tell you something that I personally know about Jared Goff that will help you with this wager right here. Jared Goff is soft. Jared Goff does not like to get hit. This is why he's no longer a Ram. He's no longer a Ram because he didn't want to take hits in the Super Bowl. He was making business decision throws in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Remember, that was the 10-3 game or whatever that score was. One of the worst Super Bowls of all time. Won by the Patriots in kind of a ordinary year for the Patriots. And they won because Jared Goff absolutely turtled up in the Super Bowl because he didn't want to get hit. If it's a clean pocket, he will slice and dice. If you heat him up, he will cower and he will cave and he will go fetal and the whole thing will crumble. That's what's going to happen this week, folks. Have you seen Dorrance Armstrong? Have you seen Lawrence from the other side? Have you seen Micah Parsons? Have you seen their interior? Like they rush the passer as well as anybody in the National Football League. They're at home, juiced up with the Dak return. And I do believe in that angle, by the way. And now they got Goff. And they are going to, by the way, I'm not sure Swift is going to play. He's questionable. To me, he's soft as well. If he's not 100%, he's one of these guys. I got to be 100% to play. No, you don't. It's football, man. And it's football. Okay, let's just leave it at that. But I see Goff making business decision throws, possibly throwing another pick 6. I see him sacked a lot in this game. And I'm going under Jared Goff at 248.5. Tony Pollard, Dallas Cowboys running back, over 35.5. I like this one, folks. I like this one. It's a -125 to the over here, 35.5. Detroit's run defense is, wait for it, the worst in the National Football League. They give up 167 yards on the ground. 167. We got to get to 35.5 with Pollard, a guy with juice and jets and all that. He will get 8 to 10 carries, and that will be more than enough for us because he averages 5.1 yards per carry. I mean, it's just simple math. He doesn't have to explode. Let's get 8 carries for 5.1. That's just over 40, and we're in the winner's circle here. Cash in another ticket. Here's the flow on Tony Pollard this week. This year, okay, with rushing yards. 8, 43, 105, 6, 86, 44. He's been over this number the last 2 weeks. He's been over this number in 4 of the last 5. And he's been over this number in 4 out of 6 on the year. Over. They're all over trends. And I believe having Dak Prescott back helps and doesn't hurt because the offense overall is going to be better now. And it's going to be more balanced. So I like Tony Pollard's over on 35.5 rushing yards. I also like the over on Brian Robinson at 54.5 rushing yards for the Washington Commanders against the Green Bay Packers. The action is actually heavier on the under here for Brian Robinson. It's plus 105 to the over. And this game is a home matchup against Green Bay. Green Bay is 27th against the run this year, giving up 135 rushing yards per game. They're god-awful against the run. Okay, you remember David Montgomery? And, a guy that, isn't really that good anymore. Remember him shredding against the Green Bay defense. Remember that? He had a big game. Brian Robinson's flow, he's played 2 games, okay? He had the game 9 carries for 22 yards, but it was telling because he went 9-3 with the carries over Gibson. 17 carries, 60 yards last game, and he did go over the number in that game, and he's going to go over the number in this one too. It's a great matchup, and he's the guy. There is no disputing or confusion about who the bell cow is for Washington. It is Brian Robinson Jr., and I see 20 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown this week. I think he's going to have a nice game. By the way, Taylor Heineke, don't sleep. Taylor Heineke is a good quarterback. Washington's going to move the ball against the Green Bay defense. I'm not saying go out and pick up Taylor Heineke and go invest in his football cards. That's not what I'm saying, but he's a good quarterback. He does not suck. He is, to me, actually, he's north of a bridge quarterback. He's better than Cooper Rush. He's better than Jacoby Brissett. He's north of that. He's a really, really good backup. I'm a fan. I like him. He's got quick feet. He's got a big arm. He's just kind of undersized, and I think he gets put in a box because of that. And so I got one more for you here. Derrick Henry of the Tennessee Titans. His number is 89.5 with his rushing yards. I'm going over this number, folks. It's a minus 115 to the over, so action's coming in on that side. We got a barn burner here with the Raptors and Nets, 100-100. I like it. I'm going to actually take that game full right now. So Henry, he's rolling. The last 3 games, he's gone 83 and then 114 and then 102. And then he had the bye last week. So he's going to be rested. He's going to be ready. Here's Van Vliet with a bucket, 37.5 seconds left, little mid-range free throw line jumper. Brooklyn leads 105-104. Are they going to call a timeout? It doesn't look like it. Nash is instructing them from the sideline. All right, Nets up 1, getting up on 10 on the shot clock. Where's Durant? Durant's chilling on the right wing. He's got OG on him. Kyrie, a lot of dribbling. Gets it back. Shot clock an issue. And here's Patty Mills from the left wing, and he drills it. Oh, that's Royce O'Neal. My bad. Royce O'Neal came over. They gave up a first-round pick to get him. And I was like, you gave up a first-round pick to get Royce O'Neal? And he just hit the dagger. We just win the game 3. Good for you, Royce O'Neal. A part of the Utah dismantling, right, with Gobert and Mitchell, and they traded all these guys. But right there, wow, big shot by Royce O'Neal. And the Nets are going to beat the Raptors. That's a good win for them. So Derrick Henry's rolling. He's got, as I said, 83, 114, 102 coming off a bye. He's in a very, very good way now, okay, after the slow start. Indy sucks against the run. They do. Shaquille Leonard isn't playing again this week. That's why they suck against the run. They're 21st against the run, giving up 121 yards per game, okay? Henry's going to run wild in this game. It's a home game. It's a big divisional game. It's the battle for first place. And he averages 89 yards career against Indianapolis in 13 games. So right on this number. And I like that because All right, it's not 105 where we feel that much better about it, but it's not 76, right? His career average against Indy where we go, wow, historically he doesn't hit this number. Historically he does hit this number. So that's where I'm at with Derrick Henry right there. Now, with the time that we have allotted to us until 10 o'clock Eastern time, I want to get into some NBA win totals. And I won't get to all of them. We'll pick this up again next week. We got time here. We got time. But let me give you some betting advice right now on win totals in the NBA. The Boston Celtics. And let me check out their game. They're playing in Miami right now. It should be getting close to the end of that game. Let's see if we got a barn burner going on here with the Celtics and the Heat. They're in a timeout, just going to it. And Boston's looking good here. 47.2 seconds left. And I would like this little messaging on the bottom. And it's 108 to 99. Boston over Miami. Boston's off to a really good start. But their number is 53.5. And it was the same number as a couple of weeks ago when I got these numbers. Vegas loves Boston. They're on top of the Vegas leaderboard to win the championship. They have the highest win total in the NBA, and I'm not buying it. They won 51 games last year, okay? 51 when they went all the way to the NBA Finals, and they were the best team in the NBA from like January on. They could not lose. Awesome defense. Robert Williams isn't there. Danilo Gallinari is injured. You downgraded a coach from Udoka to Missoula. That hasn't shown up yet, but I believe it will. I am under, with confidence, Boston on their win total of 53.5. I know the results right now, what are you talking about? They're 2-0. It's a long year, 82 games, 53.5. Think about it. Their win total's higher than the Bucks at 52.5. Their win total's higher than the Warriors at 52.5. I mean, you can fade them just based on that. So I would definitely go under the Boston Celtics at 53.5. Milwaukee is at 52.5. I'm over this number. I think they're going to have a really, really good regular season. They won 51 games last year, okay? And now, they start the season shorthanded. I will say that. But they just won at Philadelphia. And they won with Giannis doing his thing and grimy defense. And they're going to hang their hat on defense here. And I think they're going to get over this number. I don't love this bet. I don't love it. But I would play the over on the Milwaukee Bucks. The Phoenix Suns here at 52.5. Okay, the number's the same as it was a couple of years ago. They won 64 games last year. I'm staying away from this one because their win total is going to plummet, right? They're not winning 60 games, 64 games. That was a franchise record. It was a crazy successful year. That's not happening 2 years in a row. So I'm, under 64, but the number's 52.5. To me, that's right around where they're going to be. I don't sniff. I don't detect an advantage here. So I would stay away from that one. Same thing with the LA Clippers. 52.5 is their number. The number hasn't changed. And this is a stay away from me because I've got them winning 52, 53, 54 games. The number's too close because if I go over, it's going to take all year. And by the way, they're a load management team. So I'm a stay away on that one. I will give you one more to take a bite out of here. The Golden State Warriors at 51.5. Now it's been bet up to 52.5. Go over on this one, people. This is a freaking freight train of disaster and devastation that nobody can stop. Their second unit is amazing. They have arguably the best starting five in basketball, best home court advantage in basketball, arguably the best coach in basketball. They're healthy, they're motivated, and they're going over 52.5. I'm telling you right now, I actually think the Golden State Warriors are going to hit 60 wins this year. I do. I think they're going to obliterate this number right here. Let me see. I'm not going to have time to go check that Paulo stat, but hopefully Paulo got the over here. And so we had a good night. I love you all. Big thanks to Anthony Rivera and Matt Deutsch behind the glass. Love them. And big thanks to our great guests here tonight, Jeff Cadillac and Lance Goodman. I love you all. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday night on Better Sports Live.
Are you not entertained?